And here we go. Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. Armani and Edwards, the bottom line. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Armani, Braylon Edwards, Stan Edwards in the house. Braylon Edwards, I say to you, good afternoon, my friend.
What's up, buddy?
You, baby.
Hey, man, it's Tuesday, so we always got to have Papa Stan in the building, so always good to see him. Last night, a very interesting scenario. It's one of those situations where you see when an individual doesn't go the analytical route, and that was Nick Saban. He didn't go the analytical route. He took the field goal. He took the punts, and it worked well for him. The only thing he didn't have his starting players. Like, he had played with so many freshmen, and you can easily, people have talked about it, and we'll get Dad's opinion. People have consistently said over the last couple of days, especially today, well, it's Alabama. Alabama has 5-star this, 5-star that. Like, if anybody can pull from the bench, if anybody can pull and put somebody and replace set star, it's Alabama, and I agree with that. But there's another thing when you're putting, 3-4 freshmen, 3-4 new players into a role in this moment where Georgia came in and they're hungry. It's a tough spot. Bryce Young is a Heisman Trophy winner. What I'm telling you, I watched some of the stuff the receivers were doing. Little things show the inexperience of a freshman wide receiver versus 2 wide receivers that are going to be first-round drafted.
Braylon's so fired up here today, Stan. He didn't even give me an opportunity to thank him for lunch today. Chick-fil-A lunch.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, you know what? It was a spicy chicken sandwich, so I'm hot. I'm spicy right now. I'm coming out with the info.
Uncle Mads, does Chick-fil-A buy spots here?
No, that's right.
So we just had chicken sandwiches.
Yeah,
so. Very discreet, unnamed chicken sandwiches.
Good on you, Stan.
Yeah.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine. Hope you guys are fine. I guess we've gotten started already, though. So let's continue.
Get it. Can I just say this off the top? And this is
Jordan Davis.
Meaningless, but yes, Jordan Davis. How about Saturday game?
Yeah.
Saturday game.
Yeah.
I mean, why is this game played on a Monday night? There are no college football games played on Monday. There's college football played 5 nights a week, except for Monday night. Why?
The beginning of the year that's on.
Why is
the opening game is usually on a Monday night?
It's so dumb.
It's not
Thursday night.
If the NFL wants to go 1 o'clock, 4:30, and then the 8 o'clock NFL game. If the NFL wants a Saturday window, make them play at 1 and 4:30.
Well, the easy answer is money. Yeah. But the long extended answer is more money. And because it's played when the prime time, see, years ago, the NFL hit a home run and knocked it out of the park when they started with Monday Night Football. Yeah. They didn't realize that, we can actually own the networks, the airways with Monday night. There were so many other shows that competed or tried to compete with Monday Night Football that eventually went off the air. Mm-hmm. Monday night is a great time for folks to do anything. And college football just followed this suit and said, hey, we're going to have the whole country watching, and Monday night's the best time to do that because not only can we make money, we can make more money by having it on Monday night. I accept
it, but I hate it, man. But
it also follows the weekend. I think the majority of society, where regardless of what your position is in life, like regardless of what you do, you can work from home, or you can have linear income, or you can have to go to work on Monday. Monday is that day where you're searching for a little remnants of the weekend. It's Blue Mondays, it's all these things. So when you add a national championship game, when you add set game here or whatever in that Monday night prime time, it feels like an extended weekend. It's like you're on Sunday, you're like, you know what? Cool. Oh, Alabama plays Georgia tomorrow. Cool. I have some boys over. Yeah. We'll have a couple drinks. That's what the national championship does. Is it extends the weekend. That's why Monday is such a good day.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, I just feel like you cheat yourself out of a bunch of house parties and packed bars and stuff like that. A reason to go out somewhere. Because Monday night,
it's one TV though. You get more TVs and more streaming eyes on Monday because people have to watch it at home. They can't go to their boys' house and watch one game.
I do want to make mention of this right off the top. Nick Lidstrom named the Red Wings vice president of hockey operations. Maz, he will do this from Sweden, correct?
From Sweden. Matter of fact, him and the captain, well, now the GM and president, Steve Yzerman, had their press conference just over a few minutes ago. Darren McCarty kind of told this to me as it was going to happen, just the minutes before it was going to happen. It's a great thing. Nick's going to balance his schedule. He'll get to Detroit when he can, but all the work that Stevie Yzerman needs from him, he could do from the comfort of his home in Sweden.
I think all of us really enjoy, and we know we're lucky to have a franchise like the Red Wings here in Hockeytown, USA. I'm also interested in knowing, how are the Red Wings as a franchise viewed around the NHL, around the world, and around the country? I wonder, do they view them as much as we do? I don't think we're being homers either. That's a solid franchise, and I think people around the country and around the world, in the hockey world, understand that as well.
I think around the world, I wouldn't be shocked if we were the number one. You know, you look at what the Red Wings did. We were the first team to introduce the Russian Five. You know what I'm saying? We were the first team to really introduce, hey, we can pick players from Eastern European here, Ukrainian here, like insert
all over the
Eastern
world.
European, and then insert Canada. And Stevie Y. What I was gonna say, Stevie Y is the second already. He's the second best front office former player in the history of professional sports. Number one is Ozzie Newsome. But Steve Yzerman is definitely on pace to pass Ozzie Newsome, and it won't be long.
Responsible for a couple of Stanley Cups in Tampa Bay,
And
that's
left,
for sure.
and they won again with the people that he brought on board.
And hopefully that will be the case here. Guys, I want to get right to it. College football national championship game last night. Braylon, we got your assessment a little bit. Georgia finally beats Alabama 33-18, their first national championship in 41 years. 33-18 the final. First three quarters were a bit of a dud, but that fourth quarter, my goodness, you buckled up a little bit. Let me play for you Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. This is after the game, midfield. Take a listen to what they said.
So often it's been
Couldn't hear exactly what they said other than the God bless you at the end, but it was a nice long embrace. Kirby Smart.
Nick asked about the receiver. What's his name? Jameis?
No, Kirby did.
Kirby asked
asked about
Kirby
receiver,
asked him.
and Nick said in turn, you guys kicked our ass in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
He said you guys kicked our ass in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He's 100% right. They won the fourth quarter. Let me give you the full assessment of what I was going to say. It's one of those situations where you saw the inexperience of adding young wide receivers into the game because Jameis Wilson, who's the number 2 wide receiver in my eyes in the country right now, John Mechie, I think, is number 6 receiver in the country right now. They both were out. Jameis gets hurt. When Jameis got hurt, they were winning the game. They even took the lead after he was hurt. They did enough to win the game where they missed out. I am a firm believer in this, and I'll let Dad break the game down. I'm a firm believer as I've gotten older. I'm starting to pay attention. I always notice a couple plays in the first quarter where you can see where the game is going to go. And that's not every game. Like, games are different, in every sport, game is different. But you can always point to a couple games. The Michigan game, you could talk about Harbaugh going for it on fourth down. That changed the trajectory of the game, and it made it complex, right? You can talk about Iowa against Michigan. Their first drive, they did everything. They went spread offense. They went no backfield. They went trick play, and it didn't happen. And then they missed the field goal. Game was over right then. Yeah. You can point to plays. The Michigan-Ohio State game. I know Michigan keeps coming up. Michigan-Ohio State game. Michigan throws interception, and then Ohio State drives down. But then Michigan stops them, and they have to result to a field goal as opposed to a touchdown. Same thing happened yesterday. You had a young, inexperienced wide receiver. He planted off the wrong foot. Like, whenever you're going to the right, when you're planning to go out, you plant on the left so that you have all your strength and all your force. Boom, you plant, you leverage, you go out. He tried to plant on his right foot. He slipped. The play was right there. If he plants off his left, I'm not sure he doesn't score a touchdown on that play. Insert another play, another freshman young wide receiver. The next drive, down in the red zone, Bryce Young throws a beautiful ball. Puts it right in the back of the end zone. Because he's young, because he's inexperienced, he doesn't know how to kill his feet, Dad.
Right.
You talk about this all the time. That's what made you love Antonio Brown.
Right.
The dead feet.
Yeah.
You literally your feet die.
Yeah.
And then you find the ball. Wherever your feet are, the last space inbounds, you die on your feet, and you catch the ball. He didn't do that. He kept running out of the end zone. He caught the ball out of bounds. Insert the same guy from the first play. He catches the ball. He tries to catch the ball on the sideline like this, Dad. The reason why you don't catch the ball like this when it's above the waist is because you push the ball down.
Right.
As opposed to you put your arm in your hands like this,
right.
you cradle it.
Yeah.
Like a baby. Like it's a baby carriage. It's called cradling. He didn't do that. He pushed the ball down. He knocked the ball down. Those are 3 plays in the red zone. 2 of those would have been for short touchdowns, and 1 would have led to a touchdown. They did enough to win. They were in spots to win this game. Georgia didn't come out. The score is not an implication of what that game was.
Well, to your point, I think a lot of people always put 5 stars and experience in the same discussion, and
not
it's
even
not.
close.
You know, there are a lot of talented players, and everybody on Alabama and Georgia are not 5 stars. I wish people would stop that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of talented players. But on that stage, if you don't have the experience, it will show and it will come out. Injuries aside, you know, the best team won last night. Last night, Georgia was the best team. I don't think they're the overall best team, but they were the best team last night. Stetson Bennett he was 17 for 17 for 26 for 224, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
No interceptions in a championship game. That's far more than a game manager.
And they
played
chased him
solid.
around. And
yeah,
they chased
did.
him. He didn't have a minute in that first half. Not a second.
No, he didn't. He did not have a clean pocket, and he did not panic on that as well. You know, so but to some degree, Alabama's injuries did come into play. I think the biggest thing that helped Georgia last night is Kirby Smart did not get in the way and mess it up for them.
What I will say, well, first of all, I got to back up and agree with that on that, because that's what we said. Like, I actually made a comment.
Kirby
before.
Smart in a big game.
I said, what did we talk about yesterday? I said the fact that his last name is Smart and we never call him Smart. We never use that. Like, that should be an easy, like, go to. But we don't use that. Why? Because he typically doesn't put himself in smart situations. Last night he didn't outplay himself. He legitimately let the game come to him. Talking about Stetson Bennett, it's just a great moment, man. Like, it's one of those Cade McNamara moments. Yeah. Although he's a walk-on. Like, all year long, even going into this game, what do we talk about? JT Daniels. Where's JT Daniels? Why is he not playing? Like, why is this going on? This guy was a walk-on. This guy can't win the big game. He said to hell with that. Look at what he did against Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Like, he learned from his mistakes against Alabama. Look at how he played in this game yesterday. Like Dad said, 17 of 26. Even after he turned the ball over, that could have been a game-ending drive. When he turns the ball over, the fumble, they go in for a touchdown, they take the lead. It could have been over. And he said, to hell with that. That's why when he had that moment after the game, you really felt him about to cry. You really felt good for him.
His story,
he earned that.
His story almost very reminiscent to that of Brian Greasy at Michigan. Yeah. I mean, as a fifth guy in the depth chart, all of a sudden, just you stick-to-itiveness, you find yourself in the game and you win a national championship. Guys, Nick Saban had some words for his 2 great young players in Bryce Young and Will Anderson. Look. There were some players on that field last night that played football. I could not help but think about them as Detroit Lions. I want to move that conversation forward.
Now.
Ask you about Alabama as well, the favorite already to win next year's national championship.
Isn't that every year?
Which SEC team will win the championship next year? Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
6 dark corners. A driveway and a patio. 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes? Touchdown! What a play! Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet, the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey gang, I want to tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac, located in Dearborn on Michigan Avenue. General Motors did announce the all-new electric Chevrolet Silverado. Reservations now open on Chevy.com. Les Stanford will have one of the largest allocations, so make sure you get in line at Les Stanford Chevrolet. For more, call them today, 313-565-6000, 313-565-6000, or online, hit them up at LesStanford.com. Les Stanford.com. Les Stanford, find new roads.
Find them.
Bryce and Will, thanks for your time. We'll let you head back to your locker room.
I'd like to say something. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
You know, these 2 guys that are sitting up here, they're not defined by one game. These guys played great for us all year. They're great competitors. They were great leaders on this team, and they contributed tremendously to the success of this team. And we would not be here without them. All right, and both of them take responsibility for the loss, but both of them contributed in a lot of ways in a positive way to giving us a chance to win and a chance to be here to have an opportunity to win. So I just want to thank them for that and let everybody know how proud I am of these two guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
So that's Nick Saban after the game last night. And, you can't help but watch that game. Will Anderson, my goodness, and then Jordan Davis on the other side.
That's why he's the best in the game. That's one of the reasons why he's the best in the business, and I don't think there's a close second.
Do you think those two players will play for him next year, Ryan?
It's a great question. Braylon, I was going to ask that.
Yeah, so I was going to start with this. Dad's right. He is the best to ever do it. He's the best right now in the game. It's not close. That was unnecessary. And the thing about it, I'm watching it. That's not Nick Saban 3, 4, 5 years ago.
No, it's not. I was thinking
which
the
lets
same
me
thing.
know that Nick Saban he's close to hanging him up. Like, obviously, if he would have won last night, I'm telling you, he would have retired. My apologies. If he'd have won last night, he'd have retired. He's not going to retire now because he doesn't go on this way. And then, obviously, you got both guys to answer your question. They have to come back. They're sophomores. So they both come back next year.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, so they're coming back. They're going to play because of this taste in their mouth. Like, going to Alabama, it's a business deal. But what I was meaning about it, that was unnecessary for Nick Saban. Like, Will Anderson was all over the place. Like, what Will Anderson did allowed the other players on defense to have success.
Looks like he's offside.
Bryce Young.
That's how quick he is.
Bryce Young put dimes out there. They just weren't caught. He played amazing with the exception of 1 or 2 passes. Like, he didn't have to say that. That shows you Nick's coming to the end because Nick wouldn't have said that because they both played great. They're both coming back next year. One's a Heisman Trophy winner. It was no need for that.
I don't know that Nick's coming to an end. I do agree that he would have not said that 5 years ago. I don't know that he's coming to an end. What I think that statement does it ingratiate those guys from making sure they're coming back? I think yes. But I think more importantly, I think young guys that are in high school that are watching this game that are considering going to Alabama that have options would also, that's where I think it's more important that for the people who want to, that's the guy I want my child to play for. If I got a choice between LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, all the top schools out there right now, Ohio State and Michigan, when you see a coach that represents his players that way in a loss and not ripping it behind, that a parent says, I want my child to play for that man.
Dumb question for you.
I see that.
Dumb question for you. I've been known to ask him before. We look at we look and we talk about the draft ad nauseum. That's what we do here in Detroit. It's our Super Bowl insert joke here, whatever the case may be. Mel Kiper or Todd McShay, one of those two last night, said that Will Anderson Jr. and Bryce Young, if those two guys were draft eligible this year, would be 1 and 2 in the NFL draft. 1, 2, 2, 1, however you want to say it.
I don't know about Bryce Young.
Fair enough. However, if you are the number 1 or number 2 pick potentially in the NFL draft, and you can't go to the NFL draft, we talk about sitting out bowl games. Would you consider sitting out the season? And I ask that because we have now seen it before.
Nick Bosa.
We've seen it with Nick Bosa. We've seen it with Jamar Chase, and we've seen it with Penei Sewell. Now, COVID was the reason why they did not play their senior season or their draft eligible season.
Or was that a convenient reason?
Or however you want to say it.
It's pretty good.
But Sewell, Bosa, Chase. Not only did it work out for them, you're talking about 3 of the finest rookie seasons out of that position.
Mike Williams?
Defensive end. Mike Williams did not work out.
He set out and still got drafted in the first round.
Drafted in the first round.
So technically it worked out for the draft.
He did some barbecuing.
But he set out because he didn't clear a challenge.
Is that a question we will start asking now?
Well, if you have enough film on there, like a year and a half to 2 years, sometimes it's only a year now, not a year and a half. I think the answer is yes. I think you can sit out and do that. What I think families are starting to see now, if you get elevated high and they're looking ahead in your draft class, if you are 2 draft classes away, because now once you enter your freshman year, they start looking at, for example, the freshman football players of 2022 that will enter college in the fall. There's already a draft analysis with their name on it in 2026. They already have those classes out. And if you're at the top of that and you finally play your first and second year and you show that you are some of the best in your class, I think I think players and families will think twice about playing line. Why risk the injury? There's proof of folks who have set out that year and still went in the top 5, top 10 in first round and do it. So to answer your question, I think absolutely it will take off.
And Braylon, because these guys are playing for Nick Saban, I'm not sure they're the ones to be those players to sit out. But I do think it is worth a consideration in years moving forward.
It's definitely worth a consideration, but also it's worth having that conversation with, as a parent, as a player, having that conversation with said coach before you go to his institution. Because having that conversation, as Will Anderson and Bryce Young, I guarantee Nick Saban would embrace their decision to sit out. Nick Saban will still allow the University of Alabama to let them go to class, to keep them on scholarship, because a lot of coaches, if you don't have a conversation, they won't. They won't allow them to continue taking school, even though they're going to sit out. So now you're like, well, I'm not going to go to class anyway, so you know what? I'll just work out from home. Insert agent that's going to pay for them to get trained, that's going to pay for them to go to Florida or California or wherever they want to train at. But you will see it, but you're going to have that conversation with your future head coach when he's sitting in your living room. Hey, Mel Tucker, just want to let you know, my son, we're leaning towards Michigan State, but after 2 years, if he's balled out and he's put enough on film, we reserve that right to sit out his junior year, but we'll still like to be a part of the organization. We still would like to be on scholarship. Got to have that conversation when he's 18 before he gets to your institution.
I found the next Micah Parsons, and it's Will Anderson. Just listen to these numbers. This is Aiden Hutchinson. 58 tackles, 33 solo. Will Anderson, 91 total tackles, 52 solo. Tackles for loss, Aiden Hutchinson, 15.5. Tackles for loss for Will Anderson, 31.5. This is a freshman. Sacks for Aiden Hutchinson, 14, loss of 73 yards. 15.5 sacks for Will Anderson Jr., loss of 96 yards. If you're saying Aiden Hutchinson is the number 1 pick this year, and I don't know if he is, I wish the Larry Bird rule was still in effect, because I would toss it onto Will Anderson Jr. right now as the number 2 choice for the Detroit Lions. I wish I could pick that kid for next year. That's how impressed I am with that kid, and he's only getting better.
Looking at that stat, listening to you, 100%. Will Anderson is a problem. He's been a problem for a very long time. He's a young guy. Like, he hates Georgia, and I really want him to ball because he wanted to go to Georgia, but Georgia couldn't find a way to get him on the field in terms of his lack of height at one position and his lack of size at the other. So he ended up going to Alabama. But I wouldn't compare him to Aiden Hutchinson because he's a monster. Like, Will Anderson is a monster. Is going to be even more of a monster. Is going to be a number 1 pick in a couple of years.
It's a freshman versus a junior.
And not even just that, like Aiden, like
in the SEC,
like he's a much better player than, like, his ceiling now. He's better than Aiden now.
Yeah,
and he's going to be more better. But the reason why I say I won't compare them is because Aiden didn't play a ton of plays this year. So if you're just comparing numbers, like you can go down the list of 9 games where Aiden didn't even play in the third and fourth quarter. But in terms of who's better, that's not even close. Will Anderson, I agree with you 100%.
Well, what I do know is at that position, do you know what is his dimensions?
Outside linebacker.
No.
6'4",
he's 6'4",
270.
Oh, Will Anderson?
Will Anderson?
I don't think he's that big.
No, he's not that big. He's 255. He has 250.
So him at that position, he does not have to play another college game.
No.
And the lowest he will get drafted is 3rd overall.
Yeah.
The lowest he would get drafted.
I love this kid.
Now the quarterback, what's the quarterback?
Bryce Young.
6'4", 243.
Bryce Young, that's a gamble. That's a risk. If he chose, with that Heisman Trophy, if he chooses to sit out a full year and then come back, because his stature, he's not real big. Throws a nice ball.
Yeah,
beautiful.
But quarterbacks get picked apart more than any other position, and if he's not ready, he could definitely fall.
Will Anderson Jr., 6'4", 243, a sophomore, wrecking ball.
Yeah.
I want to get to some NFL coaching news coming up, but next I want to ask you guys. I've got a hot take for you. Hot take alert. Hot take alert for the day, and it involves the Detroit Lions picking at number 2. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Braylon catches catches TDs.
On the slant, there goes Braylon Edwards. Edwards on a foot race, and no one's going to get near him. 80 yards for the touchdown.
Ryan catches Pokemon. We all have our strengths. The bottom line on Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, it's Mass for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. What is foaling? It's throwing the football at bowling pins. You can do it by yourself, with a friend, with a bunch of friends and family. Any way you want to do it, just get down there. Make sure you ask for Chris and Noni Hutt. Chris is the inventor of foaling. He can give you all the inside and all the rules that you need to have a great time. 2 ways to play. They've got $10 unlimited open play. As long as they're open, you could stay there and just keep throwing that football till your arm falls off. Or a private lane reservation, $120 for 10 people. You get the lane for 2 hours. They got over 100 beers, the $2 mystery beer machine, and multiple full bars. So you bring the food or have it delivered in, just like Braylon delivered it in to us today. Thanks, Bray. Come get your foal on. Check it out at thefoalingwarehouse.com.
With all due respect, and one of the things I do hate about comparing players is it always seems like you have to knock down one guy to prop up another guy.
Yeah.
But I will say that because Aiden Hutchinson's a great player. I loved everything he did from Michigan. But, man, you watch that game last night. You watch that playoff game against Michigan. You see some wrecking balls out there. You see some franchise-changing players there. And I'm not saying that Hutchinson can't. I don't even want his name to be brought up into the discussion. What I'm telling you is that Will Anderson, he'll break you. I mean, like, franchise changer. In this Jordan Davis situation, to me, I tweeted last night. I'm watching Jordan Davis, and I'm isolating as best as I can watching Jordan Davis. How Kuiper and McShay have him going 24? To me, I'm ready to pick him at 2. He's the closest thing to Ndamukong Suh as I have seen. Nakobe Dean, give me both of those guys. See how that goes. Go up. Or trade back, get Nakobe Dean at 7, get Jordan Davis at 26, and go ahead and grab your wide receiver with 34.
That is absolutely not a bad strategy at all because both those guys are player. Why? I don't know if he's ranked that low because of his weight. He may not run a good 40, but he can play in that box and up and down the line from sideline to sideline. So Jordan is an absolutely monster run stopper, and Nakobe Dean, I would love to see him in a Lions uniform.
Braylon, my hot take, by the way, I was so excited to talk about that.
You forgot to say it.
I forgot to say what the hot take was.
Jordan Davis at 2.
I don't believe the Lions will pick either Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau at number 2. I don't think they will take them.
I agree.
I don't know who they're going to take, but I don't think they're going to take them.
I agree with you, but I'm going to finalize that. They're going to trade out of that position. They're not going to take Kayvon. They're not going to take Aiden Hutchinson. They'll trade out of that position because Jordan Davis will be there if they trade down. They literally have the Philadelphia Eagles to deal with. They have the New York Giants, the G-men, as you call
Jets.
them. They have the Jets to deal with. You can trade down and find. You have draft capital.
Those 4 teams own the first 10 picks.
You have draft capital. You have picks. You got leeway. You got some working room. I'm telling you, I think they trade out of that pick. But I'm not mad about that Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. If you can find a way to get both of those guys, man, you see how well it works when a team has a guy like Chris Jones. I mean, just look at what the Chiefs were able to do in that 8-game winning streak with Chris Jones in there. Chris Jones' name came up for Defensive Player of the Year. Chris Jones, and then you mix Melvin Ingram with it behind him. It's essentially the same thing. You put Nakobe Dean behind Jordan Davis. You now have a situation like Chris Jones and Melvin Ingram in the Kansas City Chiefs.
So a lot of general managers and folks who spend time in coaches as well. They have a system on how they like to pick players, and a lot of people go best player available. No, your best need available, particularly for the Lions. What is your best need, and if that player is available? Because the best player available, if it's offensive player, you don't need to be taking them to Detroit Lions. You just don't. You need to be careful about that, because I don't see a can't-miss Hall of Fame first ballot offensive player in the first 10 picks in this draft. Some of the defensive needs that they have to go after the defense, shoot that defense first.
Hey, I wanted to bring up the Jordan Davis. I do like him as well. But he kind of reminds me of a guy that Braylon used to play with. And a guy that was here and was loved in Detroit.
Big Baby.
And his name is Big Baby, Sean Rogers.
Yeah.
And Sean Rogers had a lot of talent. And he also had that moxie. He had that, he got in your face. If he didn't like what you said, he was going to tell you about it. And he wound up gaining weight and basically playing himself out of the league. But, Bray, you know more about him. Do you think That's a comparison.
In terms of size-wise, I think it's a really good comparison. Jordan Davis is a freak, man. He's a freak of nature. What he was able to do. You see how fast he sheds, gentlemen that are 330 pounds. How fast he sheds them and he gets to the backfield. You see how fast he shot to get Blake Corum in the Michigan game. You see how fast he shot to get insert Brian Robinson on the screen route. The man is a mountain that can move. I don't think it's a fair comparison to him because what happened with Shaun Rogers is one of the freakiest athletes I've ever seen. Like when he got to Cleveland, we used to have a goal line package just for him, and he would go in the back of the end zone on our red zone day, which is Friday. He would do the Odell Beckham stuff. Like we put him in on routes on there. He'd jump up, catch stuff with one hand. He was doing all that way before Odell Beckham. Oh, by the way, at 330. But the reason why I don't think it's a fair comparison is because where was Shaun Rogers at? He was in a losing culture in Detroit, one of the worst cultures that the NFL has ever seen at that time period.
The worst.
Making tons of money, losing games. It's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Then he gets traded to Cleveland. An even worse situation almost. The only thing is we didn't go 0-16. He gets traded there. So now you get to a point where you're making money, a lot of coin, and you're just in bad situation after bad situation. Some people can be disciplined enough to still work, still stay the course, and understand that, and some people like, you know what, F this. I'm eating chicken wings and drinking champagne.
So hold on. Where did Shaun Rogers go to college?
Texas.
So what Michigan State people need to understand, they think Michigan think this up. You go down to Austin, Texas.
Oh my God. They're their own continent.
You go down to Austin, Texas and see how those players are treated and how Texas alumni think of their university.
Their offensive linemen get $50,000 a year.
But back in the day,
Even back in the day.
these guys, they thought they were God's gift to everything. The way their players and sports are treated down there, and they don't care if they win.
And you play with Earl Campbell.
I'm going to tell you like this, and Dad brought this up to me. He told me that. I told you guys about Vince Young the other day. When he scored that touchdown in that championship game, he never had to play another down football or do anything day in his life because Texas was going to make sure he was okay.
Texas is different.
Dad told me a story. Remember when the $20 bills, because they were the first one to go to the big face.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to spend a brand new $20 bill, Dad?
Earl Campbell. Guess what number he wore and when he played with the Texans?
20.
He wore 0. The Federal Reserve said Earl Campbell will spend the very first printed $20 bill.
Texas
they
is
love
different.
themselves some Texas.
Love that Tyler Rose.
Yes.
They gross the most revenue every year at $144 million a year. And Texas A&M is too. Everything's bigger in Texas.
They got the NIL down. Them and Texas A&M.
Texas A&M for sure.
Have the NIL down to a science.
So we're talking about this coming from Shaun Rogers comparing Jordan to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the total difference right there. I think he's coming from a program, unless they find something in his history, in his past, where he sometimes doesn't show up and he has that kind of attitude, then other than that, I don't think there's a comparison.
And you want to get the YouTube guys involved, guys and ladies. CJ writes, if you're going to have a hot take like that, you got to give a reason why. And the reason I believe the Lions are ultimately not going to take Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau at number 2 is because those guys are really good players.
Right.
Those guys are really good players.
They are.
And you heard the draft analyst, or I read for you the draft analyst, what he said a couple of days ago. He said Aiden Hutchinson is a stand-up double. I think at number 2, you can't have a stand-up double.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is when you think about the Lions, if they don't either, forget Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson, those guys sit over here. If you think about trying to get package, Jordan and Nakobe Dean together, those are not home run hitters. See, a defensive end or a pass rusher, those are home run hitters. Those are long ball hitters. Those are guys that can change the game no matter what happens. All they do is pop up and they drop in the quarterback or getting him out of the pocket. Those are home run hitters. So when you look at either if Nakobe Dean and Jordan came to the Lions, they both made all rookie in the Pro Bowl, but either Aiden Hutchinson or Thibodeau led the league in sacks. People will never forget it. They'll never live it down. That's one of the differences, and the difference in the position that they play, it will garner more attention.
Yeah, and I just think it's one of those situations where I'm actually rooting. I'm actually rooting for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell now to not take either one of them, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, Bray,
if
put David Ojabo on that shopping list.
Yeah.
Okay. If they move down. And David Ajabo's there.
David Ojabo to me is anywhere between 18 and 32.
Okay.
Only because he hasn't shown on film that he plays the run very well. Because what Ohio State did and what Georgia did is when he came in the game, they saw him, they audible to a run right at him. He was getting better at it, but there's a lot of film out there where he's not getting off blocks.
I'll be damn, mess.
I'll be damned.
No, it's just going.
See, I didn't catch that as a regular guy that watches football. You know, you guys played the game, man.
Just going back, I'm actually rooting for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes not to draft either one of those, and I'll tell you why. It's because people will force you to do what they think you should do, and then that narrative becomes out there, and then they almost back you into a corner where you're like, well, I guess I got to draft Kayvon Thibodeau, the guy that never shows up on film, the guy that's supposed to be number one, but he's got 6 sacks. You know, he didn't play against Ohio State. Like, I forgot he played in the Utah game both times they played him. Oh, or maybe I'll draft Aiden Hutchinson, who nobody talked about being a second-round draft pick until game 9. This season. If they step away from that and just go with their morals, they do the eye test, they actually do their research, they actually do their due diligence, and they're like, oh, you know what? Jordan Davis is the guy for us. He's going to clog the middle up there. He's fast. We'll get him some burst. We'll try to move up to get into Kobe Dean, or we'll figure out something with David Ojabo. If they do something like that, I want them to do that because it's standing on their grounds. They're not letting anybody push them. Hey, you go draft Thibodeau. Hey, you go draft Aiden Hudson. I don't think they're the guy. I don't want to draft them. That's what I hope they do.
They're going to coach the Senior Bowl.
So that'd be interesting.
But neither one of them are playing.
Yeah, but let me be clear about David Ojabo. If David Ojabo goes to a team that has a strong run stopper, D tackles in there, or somebody on the other side, watch out. When he doesn't have to be responsible for the run, or when he pin his ears back, he can be very special. Not special, very special.
And he's just starting out.
Yeah, I think him coming to the Lions and they haven't shored up the inside run stop yet, or the opposite side, it could be a few years before he's get a chance to show what he can do.
I got
something
for you. If you guys want to talk about the Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL, where do you think Jim Harbaugh is going, right?
Pause. Stay right there. We'll ask you about that next.
This goes perfect together.
We'll talk about that next. Jim Harbaugh, what's the latest with him? Does Stan believe he's leaving the University of Michigan? And big day in the NFL coaching carousel yesterday. Just still one of the most mind-boggling firings as far as coaching on the field. I think you got to look at Brian Flores yesterday in Miami. His name's being tossed about everywhere where there's an opening now. So we'll get the latest on that as well. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Defense.
Oh, man, it's that time in the show. We're switching it up now. Gypsy coming in a little earlier, man. Gypsy Vodka, Michigan's gluten-free vodka. This stuff is amazing. Last night, if you checked out Georgia, beating Alabama for the first time in 5 tries with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, you should have had some of this Gypsy Vodka. I'm telling you like this. Corn distilled 6-time, artesian spring water. This stuff is amazing. 50 formulas went into it, and on the 50th try, Adam and Mike, they got it right. Gypsy Vodka, go into your local neighborhood liquor stores, ask for Gypsy Vodka. And if you don't have it, tell them I sent you. They'll go in the back and get their private stash. But if you're going to drink responsibly.
Always.
There you go.
That's right, buddy. Armani and Edwards, bottom line, Woodward Sports Network. Brian Armani, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. We got Stan Edwards in the house today.
Tuesdays with Stan.
Braylon, do you want to ask the question about Jim Harbaugh? How do we get to Stan about this?
I got it. Dad, if Jim Harbaugh leaves University of Michigan, where do you think he would go?
I think the best fit for him is Chicago. And the reason why I say that is that Chicago, because they drafted him, he gets a little bit of capital. I think that gives him 18 to 24 months more leeway than he would have at any other location. Would Steve Ross give him more? Now, Steve Ross has already come public and said, I'm not taking away from Michigan.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I won't be the one.
But Steve Ross can also say, hey, he was going.
Yeah.
He was either going to the Raiders or he was either going to the Giants.
So we threw our hat in there.
So if he was going to leave and I didn't make that decision, then I wanted him here. But I think the best fit for him, if he was to leave, would be the Chicago Bears.
I'm hearing a lot of Jim Caldwell to the Miami Dolphins. I'm hearing a lot that name towards Miami Dolphins.
And we're still hearing the Raiders lead the pack for Harbaugh.
Yeah.
We're still hearing
Here's
that.
the thing about Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell was on the staff when they hired Brian Flores, and then he had his health condition and he had to step back.
Yep.
And that was a really good call by Steve Ross because he was hiring a new young coach. I'm not so sure if Brian Flores is older than you or not because I don't think he is.
Yeah, Brian Flores is like 42.
But the point of it is that Steve Ross saw, let me get some gray hair in here. Let me get some wisdom in here to kind of help Brian Flores in his transition to becoming a head coach. So Jim Caldwell is going to be assistant head coach and let Brian Flores really learn on the job with somebody looking over his shoulders to tell him you may want to do it this way or that way. So I think Jim Caldwell is ready to be a head coach again, and bringing him to the Dolphins I think would be a smart idea, assuming it's not Jim Harbaugh.
So when I was talking about before the break, I was talking about, that's why I asked Dad, what team did he think Jim Harbaugh would go to? What was the best fit in Chicago? Chicago's trying to part ways with Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's been injured the 2.5 years. He's missed a ton of games. You get rid of Khalil Mack, you get some money back. Now you need an outside rusher to equal with Hakeem Hicks in the middle, and you have Robert Quinn on the end. Who you gonna get? David Ojabo.
Oh, wow.
So if Michigan and Jim Harbaugh part ways, he goes to Chicago. He's bringing his boy David Ojabo. That's what I thought. But with Brian Flores, I think the big thing why they parted ways, they wanted him to fire some people that he didn't want to fire. He was a loyal guy, so I'm not firing my guys. It is what it is. Also, he was a hard ASS. He was a hard ASS to players, and that's why you have Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell is a person that doesn't have to be a hard ASS, but he can get the most out of players, but he can win games and change the culture. So I think that's why you're seeing them go to Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, I don't want to veer off too much, and that's part of the problem what happened with Matt Nagy. See, some guys just don't know how to win the room or own the room. It's got to be done that way. It's this whole thing in the NFL about if you're going to go down your way with your people. Well, you don't have to go down.
No.
You have to make sure that people buy into what you're trying to sell. You may make sure that the culture is a winning culture. Matt Nagy, when you hear some of the comments that Matt Nagy had in his press conference, you're like, no, you didn't say that.
I know it.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't agree more with
and
you.
That's some of the things that when you do lose, you don't get the capital or the appreciation. Let's think about this and give him more time. Vic Fangio going to Denver. He never really got the support of players, and he never got the quarterback. They never helped him get the quarterback right. I'm a pretty good Teddy Bridgewater fan, but Teddy Bridgewater is not a top 10 quarterback in his league. And until when he lost the defensive players that he lost, he was never going to get an opportunity to win there.
Can I interject real quick about Vic Fangio? Because Denver is a perfect situation where they got a really, really nice team.
Yeah.
Coaches whoever gets hired there is going to get fired next because they don't have a quarterback.
No.
It's a quarterback league. Show me who your quarterback is, and I'll show you a coach who succeeds. After the season, Vic Fangio asked, what's the difference between your team and the three others in your division? They have elite quarterbacks.
Yes.
We don't. So whether it's, and of course Denver asked Aaron Glenn or the Lions for permission to interview Aaron Glenn. I'm thinking to myself, if you're Aaron Glenn, of course take the job because it's one of 32, but I mean, Aaron Glenn is just going to get fired in 2 years because they don't have a quarterback.
It'll just be a money grab. That's the only reason you're going. It'll just be a money grab. Can you imagine if the Miami Dolphins hired Jim Caldwell, and Jim Caldwell brought Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator? That'd be a really good team.
It's a good team.
It's a really good team.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Flores got fired because he and Tua did not get along. That's one of the main reasons. But him and Ross didn't get along, and him and Tua did not get along.
Well, whoever coaches there, Tua is not a good quarterback. Injury and hip aside, he should have never been picked at that spot. He's only 5'10", and he drops down when he throws the ball, so he's releasing the ball as a 5'8" quarterback. And so I understand why Brian Flores didn't get along with it because he wasn't that good. And I guarantee you the next guy coming in, Steve Ross is going to allow him to pick another quarterback. I think that new coach might have Tua around for 1 year while they're looking to find out
the
who's
kid wins.
No, they doing okay. I think they went in spite of. He is not a bad quarterback, but where he was picked, he's not that value there.
Yeah, Tua is he's a beneficiary of being at the University of Alabama. Like you attach Alabama to names. Obviously, he won a Heisman Trophy, but you attach Alabama to a starting quarterback. It's like, oh man, He's a beneficiary of that. He's not that bad, but Brian Flores learned a very valuable lesson. Very valuable lesson. You cannot be at odds with the starting quarterback and the owner and the owner of a franchise.
No.
Like, those are the two people. You can be at odds with anybody else. Can't be at odds with the starting quarterback, and you can't be at odds with the guy that pays the checks. That's easy.
Can I circle back to the whole Jim Harbaugh thing? Do you believe he's going to leave? And if there was a year that he leaves, is it this one?
I think if he's going to leave, he should leave now.
Yeah.
Because there are great opportunities for two reasons. There are great opportunities for him to leave now. I think with the pieces of the puzzle that he's going to lose right now, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get back into the national championship picture next year. And so at that point, if it looks like, okay, we only won 10 games, we may or may not get the Big Ten championship game, what jobs are available now? They may not be really good jobs that may fit for you.
My answer is I don't think he's going anywhere. But with that being said, it's no better time than now. Like before, if he would have left, before now, it's leaving after losing to Ohio State. It's losing after losing to Michigan State and Ohio State and Notre Dame, not beating Penn State this year, or you came close, or you got derailed by Ohio State, you lost another bowl game. Like, if he would have left in any of these circumstances, it's always unfinished business. Like, it's unfinished business. This year, everything that he said he was going to do. He never said he was going to win a national championship. He said he was going to win Big Ten titles. He said he would beat Ohio State, in his words, that team down south. He beat Ohio State. He put Michigan back on the map in terms of his 7 years here. He 10 or more win seasons. He won 12 games this year, won the Big Ten in great fashion, got to play in the playoff game. Playing in the playoff game isn't happening every year. It's not. Unless your name is Georgia and Alabama, or in Oklahoma a couple years ago in Clemson, it's not happening. Think of all the teams that have been there, ain't been back since. Oregon, insert Florida State, insert Auburn, insert Washington, insert team here, Michigan State. It's tough to do. If he was going to do it, it got to be this year.
I hope Jim Harbaugh stays for at least 2 more years in Ann Arbor, because there's no one on that staff, I don't think, that's ready to take over for him.
I got a question for you about this then, because here's what I'm wrestling with. I felt like 2 years ago, Jim Harbaugh staying at Michigan was 100%. I thought last year there was maybe you could have a coaching change, but on Michigan's aspect. This year, I thought it was 100%. Then I thought it was 90% that he stays. Then I thought it was 80% that he stays.
Starting to go down, huh?
Now I think it's about 75% that he stays, and I'll tell you why I think the door is open for him to leave. I'm going to do that next. I'm going to ask you guys a question if I'm along the right tracks, too. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Braylon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Hey gang, Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. They've been at it for over 90 years. That's right. You see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house, and it tells the bad guys one thing. You know what it says, Braylon? It says stay out. That's right. Guardian Alarm, convenient features that let you look in on your home 24/7 local monitoring. You can even lock or unlock your doors remotely. That's right, Guardian Alarm, 24/7. They've got you covered today. A good offense loses to the great defense every single time. That's right. Make Guardian Alarm. Make that call today. 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Stay out of here. Guardian Alarm, your local security expert. Stay out.
Hey, you. Get out.
Talking about Jim Harbaugh and the possibility of him leaving the University of Michigan, I think those odds, if you will, have increased. Not to 50-50, but I think 75% chance that he stays at Michigan right now. And one of the reasons why I think that number is coming down, where's the extension? It's been 11 days since Michigan lost to Georgia in the college football playoff. We have seen these contracts happen overnight. We saw it seemingly with Mel Tucker at Michigan State. We have seen Lincoln Riley leave overnight. We have seen Brian Kelly leave overnight, sign contracts. These contracts can get done quickly. Is 11 days too quick? I don't know. Is he taking some time to think about this thing? Really think about his future? Now, what he ultimately decides, I don't know. I hope it's to stay at Michigan. But I don't think it's some 100% locked in whatever cement that he's coming back. Where is the extension? Where is the noise about a possible extension and all the money that Jim Harbaugh is going to make?
You brought up Brian Kelly. And what did Brian Kelly do? Brian Kelly lobbied LSU against Notre Dame. Notre Dame called his bluff. Notre Dame didn't pay him, and so he had to take his butt to LSU, which he probably wanted to do anyway. But he used that leaked information that definitely he leaked himself, him or his family, one of them. They leaked that information because they wanted a bidding war. They wanted Notre Dame to say, oh, you know what? No, you've taken us to the national championship twice. You've gotten us in the college football playoff twice. No, we're going to pay you. Notre Dame said, all right, we'll see you later. The Gold Dome keeps rolling. Why do you think all this stuff is coming out with Jim Harbaugh? Oh, here's the Raiders. Especially the Raiders one. Oh, it's the Raiders. Oh, it's the Bears. He has Bears ties. Oh, Stephen Ross. It's the Miami Dolphins. There's the Michigan ties. This is the way in which his attorney, who does his deals, has leaked some information, or they're getting information, or they're riding the wave so that they can start the bidding war. The bidding war has already happened. That's why he's sitting back. That's why it's taken 11 days for you to hear a peep out of him. It's because he's letting all this work in his favor.
Well, I don't think Jim Harbaugh will do anything to harm University of Michigan. Sure. Meaning that when is National Signing Day for recruits again? I think that's February 2nd.
Yeah,
3rd.
I guess so.
I think that could be a magical date if it's assuming that something is going to take place or he's contemplating leaving. I don't think anything would happen before then. So right now, I honestly think he's coming back, but this is a very odd time. And to your point, you know, the extension may be done. Sometimes people just like drama for whatever reason they do, and that could be what is taking place right now. But I don't think we'll know anything for another 2 weeks.
Maz, you got anything on that?
The longer this goes, if the Raiders were knocked out on Sunday night, I think we would have heard a little bit more now.
Right.
But Pasasha's got them playing. He got him in the playoffs with everything that's happened with Gruden,
right,
and Henry Ruggs, the tragedy there, and the Raiders still win 10 games. They win their last 4 games by one-score games. They're undefeated in overtime. This guy's got them playing, man. They're good. I think they got a chance to win a playoff game. So how do you fire Rick Pasasha after that, unless you got this guy waiting for you? I always thought he would die here, Harbaugh. I did.
Oh, he still might.
I'm just saying. I just thought he'd beat Bo Schembechler, go out the door, get a statue one of
these days. And he very well may
and he might
be that guy.
But this is his time to leave. It's right now.
You know who Rich Bisaccia is? And it's funny you say that because I agree. Like, it's one of those things where I talked yesterday, Dad. I said that the Las Vegas Raiders are a coach away from going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They got all the intangibles. They're just a coach. That's why that decision it's a tough one. That they really should take their time with that decision because it's a huge one for them. With that being said, Rich Bisaccia is Jimmy Carter. Remember after Nixon, and then insert Gerald Ford. Like, the country was like, look, man, we tired of these criminals. We tired of these crooks. He said, we just need simple. We need simple, somebody we can trust, somebody people vibe with, somebody people like. They like the peanut farmer. They like Rich Bisaccia. They seem to play for him. Rich Bisaccia is Las Vegas Raiders Jimmy Carter.
But I think the Davis family really loved that splash. And with that new stadium there, it was just out of sight. Bringing a Jim Harbaugh to Las Vegas is sexy.
Boom.
That is a big deal. So it's going to be hard for them to pass up.
And I hate to say it's not about the money because Jim Harbaugh's going to get the money at Michigan or in the NFL. Sure. He's going to get the money no matter where it is. I wonder what part of me, because as a Michigan fan last night, I felt like watching that game, I got slapped in the face a little bit.
Right.
You are not here.
Right.
This is not you. You do not belong in this game.
Oh, the commentator said it enough. I mean? We got the hint.
Like, I understand, like, We were there. I watched the game on the 31st, but I don't know if I really watched the game on the 31st the way I watched it last night, taking the emotion out of it. I tried to put my team, the University of Michigan, on the field with those teams last night, and I'm thinking to myself, you can't compete with this. This isn't what you're competing against. You're competing against Michigan State and sure Ohio State, and
Iowa,
Nebraska, and Wisconsin and Iowa, and you're doing that. And if it's good to just win the Big Ten championship and beat Ohio State once every 4 or 5 years, which seemingly is I'll take, right now. But you're not competing with that.
That's why this year is going to come back to haunt Michigan. It's going to come back to haunt a lot of teams.
That's pretty good.
It's going to come back to haunt a lot of teams that are in that top 10 or that top 8 or that top 6 that had a chance. Because this was the year to beat Alabama.
Right.
This was the year to beat Georgia.
Yep.
Like, this was the year to beat Georgia. Like,
we said it all year.
We did. No, Ryan said it, and then we jumped on board with it. Don't get me wrong. Alabama has Nakobe Dean. They have Trayvon Walker, number 44, who's going to be a great player for them next year. They obviously have Jordan Davis. Stetson Bennett was a player. They got Zamir Rice, James Cook. Insert player here.
Who's beating Alabama next year?
They're not world beaters, though. They weren't world beaters this year.
No, they were not.
We were a fourth down away from being in that game. Now, I'm not saying we would have won, but everybody talks about speed. I saw Roman Wilson cook the starting DB for Georgia. I saw wide receivers and tight ends open that whole game. Kate McNamara couldn't get the ball out. I saw bad play calling on the part of Josh Gaddis. I literally saw some good on the part of Josh Gaddis. This was the year to beat Alabama. This was the year to beat Georgia, because guaranteed next year, neither one of those teams are going to be beat unless it's by each other.
How about this to you, Stan? NIL. Texas A&M, they got it down pat.
Yep.
Eastern Michigan, Charlie Batch comes out last week,
saw
says,
that.
come here, Caleb Williams.
Yep.
This company is going to pay you $1 million to play 1 year for us.
Right.
The sticking point in Michigan is, they have Valiant, but Valiant isn't a Bitcoin company. It's not a crypto company. It's not endless money company. Michigan doesn't have one of those now. Is that the reason that Jim Harbaugh would leave town?
I don't think that's the sole reason he would leave town, but I do think he doesn't want to get caught up in the middle of, listen, we're in with all these kids and we're losing out because of the NIL, because we can't step up to the plate and deliver like some of the other schools can and get these top players, because we won't have the pick of the litter like a Georgia and an Alabama will. We'll have a few major top 4 stars and a few 5 stars that we will be at the last moment with, and if we can't push it over the goal line because we have the same thing to offer, we're going to continue to lose those.
Recruiting isn't sitting in a treehouse anymore to get the kicker. The recruiting is, hey, bring this contract. How much you paying my kid?
Right.
And then how much you going to pay him next year?
Yep.
That's the new recruiting.
Michigan will figure it out, and they'll figure it out. Michigan's very slow when it comes to things like this, because they're very in our mind. I guess I'm part of that family. We're arrogant, we're classy, we're by the law, we're by the legal, we do everything right. So it's going to take Michigan a second, but they will figure it out. I mean, they're number 4 in terms of billionaires per alum. Right. Like they're only behind 2 Ivy Leaguers in Stanford. They're number 4. Right. They got plenty of money, plenty of capital, but just going back to the schools, and you talk about the NIL, getting back to the Eastern deal and what they did, that's going to be major. And I've had a chance to sit down and think about it since Maz introduced it in the segment list last week. The reason why that's going to come in handy is because there's already guys that are 3 stars and 2 stars that don't want to go to schools like Alabama and fight if they have an opportunity, or they don't want to go to Michigan, or they don't want to go to Penn State. They want to be the big fish in a small pond. They don't want to be a fish in a bunch of a pond with a bunch of other fish. Now insert $1 million in crypto, insert TJ Lang, insert Charlie Batch, and you're getting guys that come here. You're going to get some tweener guys that don't want to leave home anyway. You'll get a ton of guys in the state. King High School, Cass Tech, Warren De La Salle, Grosse Pointe South, etc. They're like, man, you know what? Shoot. Why leave home? My parents are here. My family is here.
Will Johnson, baby.
I don't want to go out to Cal and be. I'm not going to go to Washington State or Oregon State or insert far school here. You know what? I'll take that $200,000 and go to Eastern. I'll take that $50,000 and go to Eastern. Now you start building that roster up. Eastern's on to something major.
You got any parting shots for us here, Stan? You got anything burning?
Yes. Sparty fans, you think Michigan is arrogant? Take a trip down to Austin, Texas. You'll see arrogance.
How about you, Stan? Who do you like in the playoffs this weekend? I'll go over the games with you. First game. You ready?
Yep.
Raiders, Bengals.
Bengals.
Pats and Bills.
Bills.
Ooh.
Eagles, Bucks.
Bucks.
49ers, Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Steelers, Chiefs.
I got to go with the Chiefs.
And Cardinals, Rams.
Oh, that's good.
Monday
That's
night.
good. I'm going with Matt Stafford.
Ooh-wee. All right. Stan Edwards, thanks, my
Thanks.
friend.
You
We'll
got
see you
it.
next Tuesday.
Alrighty,
We
guys.
are going to hit
Yes.
the NFL playoffs
I can't wait.
next. We're going to go through those games next. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line. I got a couple of differences of agreement.
Yeah, me too.
Thirsty little spin goblin. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it. Spin. Spin. Uh-oh. Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin. Spin. Spin till you bleed.
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
And a miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
MyBookie.ag. You can get them at MyBookie.com as well. It's our studio sponsor and the place I put all of my sports wagering in. Last night, I had those Georgia Bulldogs, but I had the over 52.5. So I came a 1.5 shy of that. So I'm looking for some redemption this weekend. I got the NBA coming up. I got a full squad there. Some NHL games that are interesting as well. I had the over on the Avalanche game last night. Hey, but it just didn't help me in my parlay. But I'm going to get them back this time. And if you're a first-timer doing this at mybookie.ag, use the promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. That's free money in your pocket. Do whatever you want with it. Remember, promo code Woodward. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Don't forget, if you have a gambling problem, please call the Michigan Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117.
Side note, you know one coach that no one's talking about, and I feel like he got an unfair shake his last time as head coach. He's done a great job as a coordinator. He actually has a Super Bowl win.
Give me a hint. More hints.
I just did.
I need one more hint.
All right, he got unfair job. His last head coaching job, it was unfair how he got ushered out.
I got it.
And he's a coordinator.
DQ.
Nah.
Not Dan
You're
Quinn?
thinking Dan Quinn and Cowboys?
Dan Quinn.
I'm thinking Jim Schwartz.
Nope.
I love Jim Schwartz.
I think Jim Schwartz would do a nice job.
I'm telling you who needs to have that Bears job. Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles is up for it. He is.
He got screwed in New York.
See, now you see where I'm going. Todd Bowles will be the guy for this job. I'm telling you, he's a hard-nosed guy, man. He gets his players love playing for him. Like, they need somebody to come in there like that doesn't mind like being quiet. Like Matt Nagy's not a guy like.
Well, Lovie Smith was like that.
He's got a couple. He's got a
I know,
couple
but
of
Lovie
interviews.
Smith hasn't been there. But I'm telling you, like that would be the guy. He reminds me of a Lovie Smith. He reminds me of Lovie Smith, but just not as friendly to the players. Like he reminds me of a guy that could tread that line, kind of like a Herm Edwards, but not as hard nosed.
Let me ask you about this because just sidetracking.
Plus,
here.
I think Tampa's off the rails. I think it's time for people to move.
Sidetracking here. There are only, with Brian Flores leaving yesterday, by my count, there's only 2 black head coaches in the NFL right now.
Yep, and they fired one. There's 3 and they fired one.
So there's 2 left. I do think you got to look at this thing and say, what are we doing here with our hiring practices? Because it's just not enough for Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, Brian Flores,
Raheem
Jim
Morris,
Caldwell,
Eric
Bieniemy. Those are 5 of the highest.
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn, not so much. I'm going to take his name out
I
of it
thought you were
right
talking
here.
about coordinators.
Yeah. But I'm talking about legitimate candidates for head coach. And I'm not saying Aaron Glenn's not, but he's been a coordinator for 1 year.
Yeah,
you
my
know what
apologies.
I mean?
I get it now.
But, you talk about Eric Bieniemy, Jim Caldwell, Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, who did it in Tampa Bay with Jameis, and he's doing it now with Tom Brady, and Brian Flores. You're talking about the 5 hottest coaches, free agent coaches, essentially, on the market right now are black head coaches. 3 of those guys got to land jobs.
Yeah.
3, seriously. I mean, this is getting ridiculous now. And this is something that I normally wouldn't point out unless it was so freaking stark. The contrast is so stark that you can't.
I can see Deuce Staley coming out there too.
Ignore it.
It's tough having this conversation because a lot of times, especially as a black man, you'll have this conversation.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw it out to you.
Stop. No, I don't mind being in the conversation. I'm saying it's tough to have the conversation with people, though, because people are like, oh, it's always a race thing. Oh, it's black and white. It's like, it's like, yeah, it is a thing because that's how they act and that's how they treat it. Like, legitimately, 2 coaches out of 32? Is that what?
When the majority of the league is black.
Like all
these, I mean,
and the thing about it is, all former players, like they're now going on coaching staff. Like they've been around. There's a ton of black coaches.
Yeah.
There's a ton of individuals like interviewing, and it goes to show there's a bigger problem. And hopefully it gets changed. But
I did want to point it out because it's just I did want to point it out because I'm looking at all these jobs. You mentioned Todd Bowles. That's why.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles should be a head coach in this league. Jim Caldwell should be a head coach in this league. And Eric
meanwhile, they get the shortest rope. They get the shortest rope at the end of the day. Like, look at Brian Flores. Like, 2 winning seasons.
Yeah.
Like, he's legitimately the first coach. He's one of 4 coaches in the Miami Dolphin history to have back-to-back winning seasons.
Listen, Jim Caldwell shouldn't have been fired, regardless of his record against winning teams.
Fired.
Unless you were bringing in
Bill Parcells.
Yes, somebody, not Matt Patricia.
So it's funny you mentioned Matt Patricia because we talked about this with Brian Flores. Over the last 24 hours, you're like, why did Brian Flores get fired? That's the head scratcher. And you said it. There's 2 people in an organization that you don't rub the wrong way. And it's the owner and it's the quarterback. And he rubbed them both the wrong way. To me, the more I'm reading about Brian Flores, he reminds me of a Matt Patricia type guy, New England Patriot system type guy.
He is.
Joe Judge, Bill O'Brien.
But the only difference between
He's
Brian
winning.
Flores is he won.
Right.
He's won.
Twice.
Yeah, two straight winning,
But I just wanted to give you more of the tree branches.
Exactly.
Because they're all the same.
These guys don't work.
They're all yellers. They're all, on top of you. They're all always right. You're always wrong. I'm sorry the Giants wound up keeping Judge, to be honest with you. That's a sidebar.
I cannot imagine they keep Joe Judge.
They're keeping him.
Yeah, I don't know.
The reason why you'll always get these Bill Belichick disciples that act like that, they're yellers, they're screamers, they rub people the wrong way. That's because all they know is winning. Like, they saw Bill Belichick do it, and they can't decipher between the two. They don't know how to create their own individual self. They don't know how to take, some of what he did, infuse it with what they're doing, and come up with their own formula and move forward. They just try to do exactly what he does with the players. The reason why he can do that is because he has 7 wins. He's been there 10 times. I take that back. He has 9 wins because I forgot about the 2 with the Giants. He's been there 11 times. He can do that because of that resume. You got to build up a resume before you start doing that. You can't start doing that and not have a resume.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Of those 5 head coaching candidates that I mentioned, I'll go first.
Right.
The one guy I really want to see get a job this year because I believe he's earned it year in and year out is Eric Bieniemy. Why he is not a head coach right now, to me, is malfeasance.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what his interviews are like, but what he does on the field, and I know he's got Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, but he has shown the ability to adapt to that quarterback. That we have not seen that quarterback in the history of the league, what he's able to do. And you play to your strengths and you adapt and you run your offense toward those players. I want to see Eric Bieniemy get a head coaching job unlike anything I've ever wanted from a coaching candidate. Like, to see a guy get a job, I want to see him get that job.
I want Todd Bowles, then Brian Flores, because even with him rubbing guys the wrong way, Brian Flores, like what he did, his body work, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The work that he put in Miami, it deserves notice, and he deserves to get a job. Todd Bowles, then Brian. As it relates to Eric Bieniemy, every year we're wondering this thing, like, where's Eric Bieniemy at? Why isn't he up for this job? Why isn't he interviewing with this? Like, every year, ever since the year before they went to the Super Bowl, and then after the Super Bowl, every year it's the same thing. What if he's in constant talks with Andy Reid? Because Andy Reid is an offensive genius. He's an offensive genius, one of the best ever. What if behind closed doors? You already know where I'm going, Ryan.
I know where you're
going. Already know where I'm going.
That's the Josh McDaniels thing.
What if? Yeah, exactly. He's like, you know what? Hey, Eric, look. Just buy your time.
I'm not gonna be here forever.
He's like, I'm out the door in 2 years. I promise you. I'm out now. I'm out the door in a year. Now he might be out after this.
That's a great point.
And then he's like, look, just stay here, and it'll be a passing of the time of the baton versus having to go somewhere.
That's a great point,
know it.
Braylon.
I think that's why people are messing with him because they know it's like, oh, Eric, no, he's in line for the job for the Chiefs, so don't even interview.
Remember when McDaniels went to Denver? He stayed. Did he even make the year?
I don't.
Yeah, he did one. He did 1 year.
He did the year, and then he ran back to New England.
That infamous.
He's waiting for Bill to quit.
Well, speaking of Bill, watching Bill O'Brien be the OC in Alabama last night, does a guy like that get another job?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he does. But where
after that trade he made,
I wouldn't want anything to do with Bill O'Brien. I don't think players like him.
Listen.
And I think that's coaching X's and O's aside. Everybody's got the X's and O's. You show me a guy like Dan Campbell who the players are going to fight for, and I'll buy in. You show me this Bill O'Brien type stuff, this New England Patriots type stuff, it don't work anymore.
Well,
it never worked. You are not Bill Belichick.
It works for Parcells. It works for Belichick.
That's exactly.
That's it.
Those two. Dan Campbell is lightning in a bottle. He's different. You talk about Bill O'Brien. Yes, he'll get another job. Why? I don't want to play the Red Sox because he's white. White coaches always get another crack at it. Look at Adam Gase. After what Adam Gase did, he got another job.
Man, it's so hard to argue. You try to argue
like
the point.
Adam Gase got another job. Matt Nagy will be a head coach next year as well.
If Matt Nagy becomes the head coach again, I will.
I promise you he'll be a head coach again.
I promise you
he'll be a head coach again.
I'm not going to say what I do.
He has a winning record.
Because he plays the Lions twice a year.
He was 12-4.
I know.
7-18. So yes, he'll get another crack at it. Like this is what they do. The University of Alabama has become rehab for former NFL coaches.
Yes.
Like you legitimately, you have a chance. You have a couple years, 4, 5, 6, maybe 2. It doesn't work. Nick Saban's like, hey, come down here, get your image back intact. Oh, by the way, get a national championship.
Mike Munchak's down
Exactly.
there.
Get a national championship, rebuild your image up to a little bit. Then people go, look, hey, he went down there with Nick. Nick was in his head. He's right. He's right for the job right now. Who the hell wouldn't hire Bill O'Brien after a year or two with Nick Saban?
Seriously.
Hey, we forgot about Mike Vrabel, who was kind of like a Belichick disciple.
I did, because I told you he was coach of the year.
He was a player.
Yeah.
He was a player,
right.
Not a coach. He's not in those coaching meetings
But
year
he
in,
knows
year out,
it, man.
making those game
do you
plans.
See how he was? Do you see what he did to Belichick 2 years ago?
Yeah.
On those penalties, on those delay of
He
games.
did exactly what Belichick would do. He knows
Belichick was steaming.
He was pissed.
He stole Belichick's stuff, so he paid attention.
Oh, man. Guys, we're going to go through the NFL playoffs. Wild card weekend. Super wild card weekend next. Money and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Armani and Edwards, the bottom line. Woodward Sports Network. That's right. We are in hour number 2. Had a great discussion with Stan Edwards. Lots of coaching talk, specifically about Jim Harbaugh. Yeah. Will he or won't he go to the NFL? And I think we all agree it's no slam dunk that he's coming back. Yeah. But if you want to go back and listen to that, hour number 1 of the program, go anywhere podcasts are found, obviously, and of course on our YouTube channel, Woodward Sports Network. Just look for the bottom line, and we will show up. Guys, Super Wildcard Weekend. Here's the schedule. Let's put it up. A couple of games on Saturday, a couple on Sunday, and then one Monday night. So on Saturday, you've got the Raiders and the Bengals. Then the nightcap is the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, 1, 4, and 8 p.m. Tampa hosting Philadelphia in the 1 o'clock window.
That's the only Fox game of the weekend. They got screwed this weekend.
Yep. The Cowboys and 49ers in the 4:30 window, and then the nightcap, Pittsburgh at Kansas City. The Monday night football game, first Monday night wildcard playoff game.
What do you think about this Monday night? Maz and I were having this conversation.
Rams Cardinals.
That's why so you know what? It was a good question. Why do you hate the Monday night game?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because it's out of the ordinary?
But yes, and it takes me a minute.
Yeah.
It takes me a minute to
adapt and adjust.
Adapt and adjust to what I like. Like I think of these weekends, right?
Yeah.
These weekends of Saturday 1, 4, 8. Sunday 1, 4, 8. And you are just ordering takeout 3 different times. You're watching football. You're planning for it beginning at noon, and you're watching it till midnight on Saturday.
What a day.
It's one of the greatest sports days of the year. Like I feel like the NFL draft being broken up into the Thursday, Friday, Saturday ruined one of the greatest sports days on the calendar.
Weekend. It was always a Saturday, Sunday.
But that's Saturday.
When I was a kid, it was on a Tuesday morning. I went to one.
That Saturday
was that the 40s?
At noon was the best one of. I think that Saturday at noon was the best sports day of the year.
Go to it.
Even more so than the March Madness Thursday.
So check this out. I agree with you to that. Like, I got drafted on a Saturday. Like, I got drafted. It felt like Saturday. I was glad that I got the chance to go shake Paul Tagliabue's hand, not Roger Goodell. Later, I actually got cool with Roger. Roger's actually, he's better than people think. But anyway, just going back to this is why I like it. And Matt and I were having this conversation yesterday. I like it for this matter. Sunday, you're watching the game with your son, or you watch the game with your father, or you watch the game with a couple homeboys. You may get over after the first game is about to go off. You catch the second game at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and you're watching, and you guys have a couple gypsy vodkas and Centron. You have a couple of those. And in the midst of, game at 8 o'clock, set game at 8 o'clock, you might introduce D-Mac to the party, a couple of those D-Mac parties. And then one of the friends out of the 4 guys, DJ Tom, Max, maybe we're just hanging out, Ryan.
What's up? Shout out to DJ Tom.
And you're just chilling, and somebody says, "Dog, the Cardinals and the Rams play tomorrow." What? We got another game on Monday Night Football. The Cardinals and it's the Cardinals and Rams, division rivals. They're 1-1. This is amazing. I love the Monday Night Football game edition. I love it.
I mean,
because the second somebody says that, you're gonna be like, I totally forgot.
I will say this.
It's going to be great for us.
I'm not going to hate it on Monday.
Right.
I'm not going to hate it on Monday. But, you're sitting there at 1 o'clock all day Saturday being like, oh, my God, I can't wait till 4:30. You know what I mean? Can't wait till 4:30.
I'm just looking forward to it. Wild Card Weekend was always my favorite weekend of the year. And it still is. It's going to be awesome, man. These games.
What about
this first game, man?
What about it made it your favorite, man?
There's more football. It's do or die. It's do or die. It's 6 games. It's do or die, man. 3 on each day. It was up back in the day. It was 2 on each day, but it was still awesome, man. I love the wild card in the NFL because you know why? The wild card can go all the way to the Super Bowl.
As the Pittsburgh Steelers, they won it here.
Let's go through some of these games. We're gonna have a week to break them down, but let's go through these games. So some initial observation. I'm not even going to talk to you about the spreads or nothing like that. Just the games. Purely the games. In that first game, Cincinnati hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are hot after that Monday night game. Cincinnati, I told you about the Bengals
That's
all the year long.
That's a Mike Tirico game, by the way.
I'll
give you the announcers.
I told you about the Bengals, baby. All year long. I love both these teams.
Burrow,
I love both these teams. I hate that they're playing each other. But if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Derek Carr and the Raiders in this one. You just don't know how, and I know he's not a rookie. He's a second-year player, but this is his rookie season because he was hurt last year, essentially. You don't know how that quarterback, Joe Burrow, is going to play in the first playoff game of his young career.
Why can't the Raiders be playing the Steelers and the Bengals be playing the Chiefs?
I know.
That would be much better.
Obviously for those watching at home, I understand the rankings, but that would be great. Yeah, I mean, I look at that game, man. I think what Joe Burrow has done, he's gotten to that Aaron Rodgers. He's not on Aaron Rodgers' level before you guys jump the gun. He's just that mindset, though. Like when you watch him, he's like that. He's just like that even killer. Like that's you gotta start calling him Ted. You gotta start calling him Ted Bundy, man. Like he has that smooth face, but he will kill you, man. And that's what I'm telling you. Derek Carr, they backed into the playoffs.
Wait a minute, I can't let that go. I can't let that go.
Yeah,
what do you call him, Joe Burrow?
Ted Bundy, man.
He's gonna kill you.
It's Ted Bundy. It's like literally like when you watch The Judge, when he arraigned Ted Bundy, he was so empathetic to him. He was like, "I'm so sorry to have to do this to you," and Ted's just a smooth faced, nice guy, but he's a killer. That's Joe Burrow, smooth faced, nice guy. Like you look at his face,
oh my God,
I don't fear this guy. What did Paulie say in part 3? I don't sweat you until you play Joe Burrow, and you like, oh shoot.
Oh my God, that's the greatest analogy I've ever heard.
Ted Bundy, Joe Burrow is gonna beat the Raiders.
He's gonna kill you.
I got Ben Roethlisberger over the Chiefs.
Get out of here.
I'm taking Ben.
Stop it.
I thought the Chiefs were your team.
No.
You said what?
I thought the Chiefs were your team.
The Chiefs are my team, but it's a hot take. Like, that's what you call a hot take. Hey, I'm going with the Steelers. Literally, I saw
because nobody in the world is picking them. That's so probably.
I disagree. I think it's people going to pick them. I'm telling you like this. I saw his first breakout game. His freshman year at Miami of Ohio. Guess who they played? They played Michigan Wolverines at the Big House. We beat the hell out of them, but he had 400 yards passing. I'm taking the guy I saw pass for 400.
Sam?
Braylon, how can you pick the Steelers over the Chiefs? Not only do I have the Chiefs winning this game, I think they're being slept on. I think they're going to the Super Bowl and winning it.
Well, I had them winning the Super Bowl, and I still buy that pick. But, you know, I also saw Jacksonville beat the Colts last week, so anything can happen.
Any given Sunday.
Can I say that this middle game on the AFC side intrigues me the most? The New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills, because I think those two teams are the biggest threat to Kansas City to go through the Super Bowl. No offense to Tennessee, Las Vegas, Cincinnati. I think the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs and going to the Super Bowl is that game in Buffalo, the Patriots and the Bills.
I like what you said, Bad, because if I can expound on that, I think whoever wins that game will get over the hump. Like, because both of those teams right now are questioning the other team. Like, they're questioning, like, it's 1-1, if I'm not correct, right? It's 1-1. Patriots have one, the Bills have one. The Bills are like, are we better than them? And the Patriots are like, are we better than them? They both said they're better than them, but they both are unsure who's the better team. Whoever wins that game, to your point, is going to walk out of that game different type of confidence and a different type of head on their shoulder. To your point, I absolutely agree.
You remember the first game they played? It was Monday night. It was that win game.
Yeah.
What was it, like a 6-0 game?
Something ridiculous.
Right. Three passes for Mac Jones.
For Mac Jones, and they won that game. And then Buffalo came back and punched him in the mouth in Foxborough. I love the Bills. I'm telling you guys. The Bills, I told you, one-score games are reversed. They're 15-1. Sean McDermott.
What does that mean, Maz? I don't get it.
Well, they lost. How many losses do they have?
I think 5.
5?
Yeah. And they're all about one.
4 of those losses are by less than a touchdown.
That's half the NFL games.
I understand. I'm just 70%. Telling. I'm just flipping the numbers for you.
I mean, if you took one Super Bowl games against the Lions, they're 10-7.
No, they're not. They're 7-9 and whatever.
Okay,
I had the sheet there. I got the number. The kid did good recon work.
The Lions will be 11th. In the NFC, if they did it that way.
The Bills are you're gonna be surprised what the Buffalo Bills are gonna do.
Go to the NFC side and just talk about two. I mean, obviously, all games are interesting, but the NFC, the interest in the NFC, I think, is more than the AFC because of the way it's slated. KC Steelers, boo. Yeah, but
Alex, can you put a full screen up so I don't have to look with my head back
I
here?
guess I can see it.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, legitimately, like the Rams, Cardinals, 1-1. Is Stafford gonna be a Stafford? Or is Stafford going to be the guy he said he wanted to be in that ESPN fluff piece? You look at Dallas. Is Dallas going to be a Dallas? Are they going to be the same team that always gets you excited? Lets you know, oh, they're the most talented team on defense. They get to the playoffs and they disappear. You know, they go down to Tijuana with T.O. and Tony Romo. San Fran's the most dangerous
T.O.,
team.
your boy T.O.?
We got to put that tweet up. That's actually perfect timing. Yeah, look at San Fran. San Francisco's playing the best football of any team in the NFL right now in terms of winning games, in terms of understanding their identity and who they are, something that Baker Mayfield would never know. And then look at the Eagles. The Eagles get into the playoffs as the 7th seed. Jalen Hurts, they feel like they have found their quarterback of the future moving forward, at least for the next 2 drafts. Playing well on defense. They went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady early on in the season. Nothing about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looks unbeatable. They've looked beatable all year, especially in this last month. So I'm telling you, that NFC side, very interesting.
All right, so you asked some of the questions regarding the NFC side. Let's go through that and try to answer some of those questions next. And I want you to give me one upset pick as well.
I got 2.
At the end of we're going to get 2 from Braylon, Armani, and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Citron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots. Citron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners with the Detroit Pistons, and exclusively served at LCA. I know this for a fact because I was there, got some in that sweet section 213, if you will. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Citron is the top choice for you. Citron is more than just a beverage. It is a lifestyle, and Citron doesn't just fit into your lifestyle. It enhances it. I don't know about you, but I like my lifestyle enhanced by encouraging you to look good and feel great. Drink Citron. Premium beverages for your lifestyle.
Armani and Edwards, the bottom line, Woodward Sports Network, having a little fun going through the NFL playoffs, the Super Wildcard weekend.
Got the club going up on a Tuesday.
That's right. We see 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then 1 on Monday night. Want to go through some of these games, and then, Braylon, I want to get your upset pick because we all know there's going to be an upset. You said there were 2 upsets. You said you had a correction you wanted to make. Was it?
Yeah, well, not necessarily a clarification.
Clarification.
And the clarification is when picking an upset, that means that you believe the team that won should not have won. So that with an upset, you got to be sure you clarify. Because I'll give you an example. San Francisco is going to beat Dallas, but to me, that's not an upset.
By the letter of the law, that's an upset.
Exactly. By the letter of the law, 6-3, it's an upset.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I'm saying, that's not an upset, and that's not the pick that I'm making. But that's my clarification. I think San Francisco beating Dallas is not an upset. People should look for it and actually expect it.
All right, so let's just go through one by one now. The first game of the weekend on the NFC side. Oh my goodness, I don't have the order of these games right now in front of me, but I do believe it's Tampa and Philly.
It is. That's the 1 o'clock Sunday game.
Yeah, that's the 1 o'clock Sunday game. Tampa and Philly.
Upset.
You know what?
Upset. That's one of them.
This was one game where I am pegging as a potential upset. There is something about Philadelphia that I like.
His name is Jalen Hurts, by the way.
I like them defensively, really. And I think, you know, with Tom Brady, without having not only Antonio Brown, but Chris Godwin.
And Leonard Fournette.
Godwin's out, Fournette's out, Brown's out. So
but you got Le'Veon Bell.
You've got Le'Veon Bell. I understand that. And this Grayson
Mike Evans
kid.
is back.
No, Mike Evans is back. But that Grayson kid who caught the touchdown pass against the Jets, he's out. He left the game last week. I'm not sure of his status, and he was a really nice player. Braylon Edwards is out. I just, Slay, this is why you paid Darius Slay.
Yeah.
This is why you brought Darius Slay in a trade from Detroit to the Philadelphia Eagles to go one-on-one and shut down Mike Evans. If he does that and shuts down Mike Evans.
Got Gronk.
Okay, I'm just saying, I think Philadelphia is primed for an upset here.
Okay.
And I'm not rooting for it, although if it happened, I wouldn't care because
I would love it.
I love Slay. And I like the Eagles, and I love their fans. Their fans are just nasty people, dirty, nasty, terrible people. They booed Santa Claus. They got a jail at the bottom of the. They got a jail at the bottom of the vet.
Say, man, which one of y'all booed Santa Claus?
I'm kidding, by the way. That's a joke. I have plenty of friends in Philadelphia.
Hey, check this out. I'm gonna tell you like this. Last year, insert same division. Same division, NFC East. There was a team by the name Washington Football Team. They almost beat Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay didn't have that defense that was playing the way they did, and obviously they have Tom Brady, they would have lost to the WFT.
And the Saints
Their defense isn't playing like that this year.
And the Saints too.
And the Saints too. Their defense isn't playing like that this year. It's Tom Brady. That's why he deserves the MVP. We'll talk about that tomorrow. It's Tom Brady. Defense isn't playing that way. When's the last time you heard Vita Vea's name before the extension a couple days ago? When's the last time you heard Ndamukong Suh's name besides us talking about the good old days in 2014? Right. When's the last time we talked about Shaq Barrett or Devin White? Insert defensive player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady and a bunch of individuals that are injured. Meanwhile, destiny is on Philly's side because that stadium could have fallen right on Jalen Hurts' leg at the end of the season, but it didn't. It was this close, which is how close Tampa Bay is going to be to beating them because they're not going to win. I'm going with the Eagles upset alert.
I like them, Maz. Something about the Eagles I like.
Tampa's 8.5 favorite. They're the Super Bowl champs. I say somehow they'll win. I would love to see the Eagles win, though. 8.5. I would love to see the Eagles win, though. That's it, obviously.
Why is that number so high?
Because they're home and they're better.
Because they're Super Bowl champs, it's Tom Brady.
Jesus.
You know why? It's because they put a lot of stock in the past and not what they're watching. They put stock in the fact that they won the Super Bowl. They put stock in Brady, and they be watching man in the arena.
Recency bias, too, when last week the Cowboys put 51 on them. Nobody played that game. Nobody played in that game.
Meanwhile, the Buccaneers almost lost to the freaking Jets.
Speaking of the Cowboys,
good point.
A 3-point favorite. Even though I said I wasn't going to talk about the spreads, it's hard not to.
So that's a pick'em game.
Yeah, it's
because Dallas is home.
Dallas is home. Dallas is another team that I can see getting to the Super Bowl, and I could see very well getting handled at home by the 49ers.
No, I agree. Like Dallas, technically on paper, Dallas is the most talented defense in the NFL, and it's not close. They have Gregory, they have DeMarcus Lawrence, they have Trayvon Diggs, they have the man, and Micah Parsons. I went back and thought about Micah Parsons, Maz, and I know you'd be excited to hear this. Micah Parsons, when they talk about him being compared to LT, it's a fair comparison. Like it's a fair
first year.
Whenever you go backwards, people always hate when you first year guys or young guys when you talk about great players, like they always say, oh, who's the next Jerry Rice, who's the next LT, who's the next Joe Montana. So people are already biasedly they won't. No, don't do that. Micah Parsons is great. They had to change the position that Lawrence Taylor played because of how good and dominant he was. Same thing with Micah Parsons. The last player that I have seen this dominant as a rookie in the NFL was, rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Period. Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
It's the last time I seen somebody this freaking amazing and talented as a rookie. It was Sean Taylor. It's not even close.
It's a great comparison in terms of the dominance, no doubt about that.
But then it's Dak Prescott on the other side. Is Dak going to be Dak? There's a reason why Dak wasn't drafted in the first round. And I know that sounds terrible, and I apologize, but not really. There's a reason why he wasn't the first round draft pick. Because you never pegged him as the guy that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. You put good things around him, and then he can get you to a Super Bowl.
He's getting paid like one, though.
He's getting paid, but he's also losing like a third-round draft pick.
Third and final game on the NFC side will be the Monday night game, 8:15. It's an ESPN game. The Rams, a 4-point home favorite against the Arizona Cardinals. So here it is, guys. I mean, Matthew Stafford, you win the division, you have a home playoff game, and now it's right there in front of you. You play a division team in the Arizona Cardinals. Basically, this game comes down to, can Matthew Stafford win a playoff game? And I say, until I see it, I'm going to pick against them. Cardinals.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. There's a reason why he's 9-7 and 9-73, 7-93, or whatever it is in teams with winning records. He just can't get the job done. It doesn't change because you change uniforms and you have a nice house off the coast in Calabasas. It doesn't change from Detroit to L.A. Who you are is
you really don't think so?
Who you are is who you are. Like Michael Jordan left the Bulls and was great for the Wizards too at 35 years old. Like people that are great are great. People that are okay are okay. People that are bad are bad. Like he's a guy that's a good quarterback. He's not the guy I think that's ever gonna make that play or make that game. He can make some plays. He's made some tremendous plays. 7-73 or 93, whatever it is, it's for a reason. It is for a reason.
Yeah, he played for the Lions.
I don't want to hear that BS. He had Calvin Johnson, he had Nate Burleson, he had Reggie Bush, he had DeAndre Levy, he had Nick Fairley, he had Ndamukong Suh, he had Darius Slade. Insert player. They had opportunities. Like, I don't want to hear the bad play on Pettigrew. Like, he had opportunities for 12 years, okay? And he had some really good games here. But in terms of winning in the playoffs, in terms of winning when it counts, Stafford couldn't pull the trigger. And I'm not about to start betting on him now just because his uniforms look nice.
Let me back this up on Braylon. In his last 4 games of the regular season, Matt Stafford has thrown 8 interceptions. You are not going to win
3 pick sixes, by the way.
3 pick sixes, 8 interceptions overall. You're just not going to win playoff games that way. You cannot turn the ball over at all, let alone 8 times in 4 games. 2 picks, 2 picks, 3 picks, 1 pick. If you go back.
Cooper Kupp is the second best receiver in the NFL this year, and he is saving Matt Stafford. Odell Beckham in the last 4 or 5 games has been helping Matt Stafford from himself.
Who's better than him, by the way?
Oh, my God, don't get me started. They've been helping him from himself. Cooper Kupp isn't that good to where he can save Matt Stafford enough to win the Super Bowl. He's a really good receiver. He ain't no Jerry Rice.
In Matt Stafford's 5 losses, this year, all to teams who eventually are in the playoffs, 9 interceptions. They have lost 5 of those games. You do not win in the National Football League playoffs.
They have to
like
run.
that.
They have to
and
run.
They do have Cam Akers,
but they don't run well. They haven't run
that's
well
on their
all
coach
year.
then.
That's
on their coach.
That's all I got to say.
That's on Matt Stafford.
I'm sorry that it followed him to L.A. That he has no running game in
Which
L.A.
means he should be used to it.
Right.
At the end of the day,
you don't win without a running game.
Out of their 12 wins, they have 12. They're 12
wins. Yeah.
Out of 12 wins, 10 were against teams with losing records.
I get it. But you don't win without running the ball. You don't.
Shit.
And you won't.
I disagree. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. They had a 100-yard rusher once that year. They won the Super Bowl.
I'm just doing a quick
that is a
look at
example,
this.
though, but
out of their 12 wins this year, the LA Rams have only won 2 of those games against teams that are in the
Cardinals.
playoffs. Cardinals once
and Tampa
in week 3 of the NFL season. So I don't know. I am not on the Matthew Stafford Rams.
By the way, J.J. Watt is back. And his brother just is about to win Defensive Player of the Year. You don't think he won't go out there and remind people he was the original Watt?
Right.
Trying to tell you.
So, gang, let's go through this.
Okay.
We've gone through our games. Let's pick our bracket. Who's moving on? And who's going home? Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network. Steelers are going to surprise you.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes?
Touchdown! What a play!
Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet. The Woodward Sports Network.
All right, I'm going to have a little fun with you right now. Throw up the bracket. Here we go. Here's my bracket. I'll go first. Are you ready? So,
Tampa and the Eagles, the winner of that will go to Dallas and San Fran. Green Bay gets the winner of L.A. and the Cardinals.
They reseed in the NFL playoffs.
Gotcha.
So,
say less.
In the 4-5 matchup, I think Cincinnati's going to win that game, even though I said the Raiders. I'll go Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City. So those are my winners. So that would mean that Cincinnati would go to Tennessee, and Buffalo would go to Kansas City. So I'll go Kansas City. And I'm going to put Tennessee. So Kansas City and Tennessee in the AFC Championship. Kansas City, Tennessee. On the NFC side, I'm going to say Philadelphia is going to upset them. So Philadelphia will be go to Green Bay.
Correct, because they're the lowest seed.
San Francisco will go to
L.A. or Atlanta or
Arizona. And I'm going to say San Francisco and Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. And I'll go Green Bay, KC in the Super Bowl. Green Bay, KC is my Super Bowl.
Yeah, I should have been paying attention.
Don't worry about it.
It's too crazy to look at.
It's too crazy to look at because they reseed in there. I guess you would need to have a visual, I guess. Maybe we can get some visuals made. Braylon, let me.
Don't the Bengals play the Bengals play the Titans?
No.
Because they reseed?
Yeah, they
If
reseed.
the Steelers win, they play the Titans.
Yeah. So here, I'll do your bracket. You give me the winners on the three sides.
All right, Raiders.
Raiders?
Not Raiders. Bengals.
Bills.
I got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl,
Okay.
but I really want to pick Steelers.
You don't want to pick the Steelers.
I'm going with the Steelers.
All right, Steelers.
I'm joking. It's the Chiefs.
Okay, the Chiefs. So you'd have the Chiefs and the Bills playing.
Yeah.
And you'd have the Raiders and the Titans playing. Oh, no, Cincinnati and the Titans playing. So Tennessee and Cincinnati.
Derrick Henry. So Tennessee, and then you'd have Buffalo and KC. KC. Who's winning between KC and Tennessee? KC in the Super Bowl. Give me the three winners on the right-hand side here. Cards. Niners.
Eagles. So you'd have Green Bay and Philadelphia. Green Bay.
Sorry, Philly, it's over.
And you'd have San Francisco and Arizona.
San Fran.
So you'd have Green Bay and San Fran. The four teams. I have the same NFC and AFC championship game as Braylon. The four teams: Green Bay, San Francisco, Kansas City, Tennessee. Who's your NFC champion?
San Francisco 49ers.
So you've got the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers.
That's a lot of red.
Hey, it's a rematch.
Maz, you want to go?
It's a Super Bowl rematch.
I'll give you my left side.
Give me your left side.
Raiders.
Bills.
Chiefs.
So you've got Tennessee and the Raiders.
Yep.
Who?
I like the Raiders to beat them.
Okay, Raiders. And you've got the Bills and the Chiefs.
I got the Bills.
So you've got a Bills-Raiders and AFC championship game. Who you got?
That's a rematch from the late 80s, right?
There you go.
From the early 90s.
Early 90s, yes.
Buffalo beat them like 50-0 that game.
And what do you think would happen in 2022?
The Bills will beat them.
So you've got the Bills.
Bring it back to this era.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad you saw that. You've got the Bills
That's not nice.
in the Super Bowl. Give me your right side. Give me your right side winners.
Rams.
Niners.
What's that last game?
Tampa and Philly.
Tampa.
On, you know you want
so you've got San Francisco going to Green Bay.
Green Bay.
And you've got San Francisco going to Tampa Bay.
San Fran's and Tampa Bay?
San Fran's and Tampa
Niners.
Bay. Niners. So you've got this. We all
got
have
the same.
Green Bay and San Francisco in the NFC Championship.
There's no
game.
TO, right? No TO in that game?
Assume,
that could be Green Bay.
I assume you're going to go with Green Bay. So you've got Green Bay and Buffalo. Wow, we all got Green Bay.
Now, my original pick, obviously, was Super Bowl one.
I got San Fran.
Which was Kansas City and Green Bay.
The Super Bowl?
Yeah, I said San Fran.
You're right.
Because to me, when I look at San Fran, and I'll take it back to something Maz and I talked about a lot this year, hitting the stride at the right time, getting the rhythm at the right time. San Francisco reminds me so much of the Atlanta Braves, in terms of how they're going into the playoffs. They are. How do I phrase this? They are the walking embodiment of what it means to know yourself, to know who you are, to operate within the restraints of who you are and play well in doing so. That's what the 49ers are doing. That's what the Braves did. And oh, by the way, the Braves won the World Series doing so. They looked themselves in the mirror, they knew who they were, and they played baseball that way. Same thing San Francisco is doing. We run the ball, we'll punch you in the mouth, we're physical at the line of scrimmage. Look the way George Kittle blocks. Jimmy Garoppolo is not being the cause of losing. He is doing what's in front of him. San Fran is this year's Atlanta Braves.
I really like him too. I really do.
Let me just recap for the people. Maz's final four: Green Bay, San Francisco, the Bills, and the Raiders. He's got the Bills and the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Braylon and I, we have the same four teams in the AFC and in the NFC
this wasn't
championships.
Rehearsed, by the way.
Kansas City, Tennessee, San Francisco, Green Bay. I say Green Bay, Kansas City. He says San Francisco, Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Do you guys agree with us? Let us know. Join our chat on YouTube. pretty good. Patty's got Tennessee versus the Raiders, Kansas City versus the Bills.
Yeah.
Braylon Edwards looking fly today, baby.
Appreciate that, man.
Matt Prater is going to have a playoff record for most field goals. The Cardinals might not score unless his leg is booting.
Hey, and if they're relying on his leg, then that's going to be a problem because obviously, you know what everybody talked, including myself, including Maz, Ryan, everybody talked about Brad Holmes opting to go away from Matt Prater. Look at the season Matt Prater's had this year.
Yeah.
He's missed a lot of kicks, so they knew something that we didn't. So
we got Riley Patterson.
So my apologies to the front office.
This is so fun. Isn't this a great time of the year?
It's the best time.
So it's funny because I'm trying
So
to.
you can look back and realize where you were wrong.
Next
and
to
where you were
October,
right.
this is the best time.
I'm trying to explain to my wife last night, who really doesn't care about sports at all. It's kind
That's
of
a shame.
well, it's kind of great. It's kind of great because opposites attract a little bit.
Then you have your own time.
Yeah, exactly. You got your own time.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game last night, and she says, "What game is this?"
Oh God!
And I say,
Nicole, please.
I say it's the national championship game tonight, and she's like, "Oh, so the season's done?" I said, "Well, the college season is done."
How could you let her?
Maybe that's why she doesn't like sports. It's because you're always into
And then
it.
she says,
How could you let her go through life this way?
and then she says, so if college is over tonight, when's the Lions over? And I said, well, the Lions are over, honey, but the playoffs start now. I said, so there's about another 6 weeks of football.
That's a word we don't know around
She's
here.
like, oh my God.
Can I say
so
something?
much football.
Here, this is my family dynamic now. My wife, my daughters, all coming into the living room, watching plays here and there. Then I rewind plays from. Come watch this. I rewind stuff.
Oh my God!
That's constant. But here's the best part. As a proud dad,
You're that dad.
Lily calls me
Like
right before the game.
You out of the bathroom.
Lily calls me from Michigan State. Dad, do you really think Georgia could win this game? I'm like, yeah, I like him, honey. I wouldn't bet a lot. She's like, because Chris wants to bet me on the game. I'm like, how much does he want to bet you? He's like $50. I'm like, all right, here's what you tell him. He has to give, if he's taking Alabama, he's got to give you 2-to-1 odds. She's like, what's that mean? I'm like, you win 100 if you pick Georgia and they win, but he only wins 50 if Alabama wins. I'm like, she's like, you got it? She's like, I got it. She went back, wrote me right back, texted, Dad, he agreed to it. And then all through the game, Dad, if I read you the text string,
oh my
she's
God.
watching the game.
So what was your percentage?
I didn't get anything, but Lily picked up $100.
She should have kicked you $10 or
I'm
something.
just proud of my daughter, Lily, and my wife comes in. I tell her, and she's like, "Why'd you have to do? Why are you bringing up your daughter this way?" But laughing about it because that's just the way.
so
I do.
great.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right.
Shout out to Lily making that
Football
money.
lives at the Mazaway household.
That is so great. All right, gang, we're going to take a break. Maz's videos of the day. We'll do them next. Armani and Edwards.
Nicole!
Hey, we left you a lot of time today, big fella, so you better bring the heat.
Bring it today.
I don't have that
Armani
much.
and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I'm gassed.
Nah, we're hot right now, baby.
Everything that we've hoped for finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Braylon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, gang, I want to let you know about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. That's right. This place is wicked
Stay
awesome.
out. Oh, no, wrong commercial.
Wrong one. Wrong one. No, don't stay out.
Change
Stay
the time,
in.
man.
In fact, walk in, sign in, sit down. Before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Men of all ages love this place. You
Find
see this
the
little
road.
guy right here. I'm getting my haircut tomorrow. Shout out to Becca. 1 o'clock, girl. You remember that.
Hey,
I mean, it's a
girl.
product, too. By the way, some of the best products are sold here at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men as well. Come on in, walk in, sign in, sit down. Before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Open 7 days a week, 10 to 8. It's wicked awesome.
Drink Centron.
Yes. Stay out of my house, Guardian Alarm.
Maz.
Find new roads. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Go ahead and sell your Equinox back to
There
that,
you go.
Maz.
I will,
There
baby.
you
I
go.
will.
You got to do it.
Hey, I want to lead off our videos of the day with some Lions.
Please.
This is what happened yesterday at the
Videos
press
of the day?
conferences. Yesterday, Dan Campbell was asked about, Anthony Lynn parting ways with him and the team. And these guys were friends. He talked Anthony Lynn to come in here and give it a shot. After he was fired as the Chargers head coach, he was going to take the year off. There was words of him maybe going to USC. Remember that earlier in the year?
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Lynn to USC.
talking about to the alumni base, the Regents.
Exactly. They really pushed for it. Yeah. Anyway, he stays here, and he's calling the plays. I forget what game Dan Campbell kind of took over the play calls, but the Lions did not have a win at that time.
They got waxed that game.
I think it was like 3.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, 3 or 4 after Cincinnati.
They didn't give him much time with the plays.
It was Cincinnati or the Eagles.
Well, this was Dan Campbell yesterday speaking about his buddy Anthony Lynn.
And felt like this is just best for both of us, And look, he came here, took a leap of faith with us, and under the impression that he would be calling the plays, and so it was not going to go that direction again. That's not fair to him either. So I wish him the best. Man, he's been a true pro. He works his tail off, and he gave us everything he had. So I appreciate him for that. He I just think it just wasn't a fit. We just, you want it to be, but I think we never found our groove or our rhythm, if you will, and it's hard to really, truly pinpoint. Sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want, and that's really the best answer I can give you.
Yeah,
can I just say this about him?
You can tell he was feeling really bad.
Can I say this about him?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a true blue guy.
In a world where whether it's your football team or your doctor or your wife or your boss, your barber, you just want people to be honest with you. You want people to tell you the truth. And for Dan Campbell to just look, it didn't work out. Yeah. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it just didn't fit. It didn't work out. And then Josina Anderson tweeted about a text conversation she had with Anthony Lynn, he's like, I love Dan Campbell. I wish him the best. It just sometimes it doesn't work out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And the biggest thing is people, whether they're trying to be what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to protect your feelings, or whether they just dance around the issue. Like playing in the NFL, the one thing as players that we always want is just shoot it straight.
Yes,
like just shoot it straight from the hip. Like they when I say they, talking about the front office, there actually is a they in this scenario. The front office, like the coaches in front office, they never want to just tell you the truth. They want to dance around subjects and make up stuff. Just tell me, hey, you know what, Braylon? Right now, you're a bigger wide receiver. You're 6'3". You're not as fast as you used to. You run about 4.55. Now we need a guy that's about 6 foot, runs 4.3. I appreciate that. I'll go take my 4.5 and 6'3" somewhere else. Just shoot me straight. That conversation, like you could tell the emotion. You could tell that he liked A-Lin a lot as a person. Loves A-Lin. You can go that far to say it. But at the end of the day, what did he say? He said it just didn't work. There's nothing wrong with that. Everything doesn't always have to work.
Boom.
He still got paid.
Yeah.
And he still got a great reputation.
They're still friends.
I wouldn't doubt seeing him as a head coach again one day.
I guarantee you they will probably work together down the line.
Think about that. You brought it up yesterday to me. He's probably a better head coach than a coordinator.
Yeah.
Because he could divvy up the duties and just lead.
Yeah, when you're a coordinator, that means you really got to really know your SHIT.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to know the defense down pat if you got to do what Aaron Glenn does. You got to know the offense down pat if you want to do what Sean Payton does. Like you really have to know it. And if that's not your thing, if that's not your stick, is knowing it well, being a manager of two geniuses is much easier.
Also yesterday, after a 3-win season, 3-13-1, Dan Campbell spoke about the team's future.
I just think there again, the fact that these guys have continued to bang away and never lost hope and gave their best effort, best foot forward, and they believed in every game that we could win. They really didn't believe that we were going to go in and we didn't have a chance to win a game, and it didn't matter who we were playing. And I think that was important. And so because of that, we were able to finish out on a win yesterday. And I think that belief and the knowing of that, and knowing that everything to this point we bring in more competition and will only be better because of it, should give us a springboard. And now we'll be a year into it, man. Us as coaches, the players that are here, will be better. We'll be better for it.
We will be better for it. I'm digging what he's saying, man.
I love the fact that their record is 3-13-1. Just get rid of 1. It's the Detroit area code.
Right.
Wow, I didn't think of that.
3-1-3. Look at that. It's gonna be
in
1-3-1-3.
there you go. Just look at it in reverse. Check that out.
Hey, I got one from Jared Goff yesterday. Our good buddy Woj asked a question. Jared Goff, he asked him, how have you changed? Have you changed this year coming from L.A. to Detroit?
I can't exactly tell you where I've changed, but I think I have much greater appreciation for winning and how hard it is and being a part of a team and just, you know, your world gets flipped upside down, you know, about a year ago and then, oh, it's actually not that bad. You know, you come out here and you have fun and you enjoy your teammates and just knowing that there is so much out there to be grateful for and to have fun with.
Remember when he first was traded here? Let's face it, he got traded here. Oh, you're going to Detroit, one of the worst teams in the NFL, from a Super Bowl contender to the worst thing you can have.
Walked in here with a bodyguard.
Didn't know what to expect. Walked around Birmingham, and he's like, "Ooh, this place is probably nicer than Hollywood." And he talked about Birmingham roasting this. Did you know that?
No.
He gave a quote because people asked him, "Where'd you like to eat?" and all of that. Hey, that Birmingham roast is top of the line. They have a great breakfast over that Birmingham roast. So, you know, he's been here in the area, and I tell you, man, the guy's grown on me over the year. He could have quit, man. He could have just gotten all this money and just mailed it in and be a backup the rest of his life. But he's fighting for his job, man.
I love the fact that you said he probably likes it even more here. I mean, obviously this is just a joke, but he's talking about Birmingham roast in Michigan. Meanwhile, in Hollywood and all the things out there, La Cienega and Malibu and Santa Monica, it's a bunch of spots he mentioned out there.
I will say that he has grown on me this year because of the way he's played at the end of the season, and maybe a couple of wins have to do with that. But
grown how?
Grown in that,
you like him now, or you want him to be the starter?
I want him to be the starter because I think that would be the easiest way for the Lions to get good quickly. Get good quickly. If he is the right guy for the Jets, if he could be the quarterback for the next 2 years at least, he'd be, you know, it would help this football team build up around it, and then ultimately you can decide how you want to make the quarterback position better. But you don't have to burn a number 2 or a number 7 or a number 24 pick on a quarterback.
He just has sad eyes to me. Yeah. And that means nothing in life or whatever. Like, he just has sad eyes. Like, whenever I watch him do an interview or watch him talk, he looks.
Let's put it like this.
He has the sad eyes.
Let's put it like this, because
I want him to win, so I see his eyes spark up.
You asked me a great question. Yeah. How has he grown on you? I'm not sure how. I'm not in just a throw him out the door kind of guy like I was for
week 5,
week 15. You know what I mean? I think over the last month it's just kind of been like, okay, I could see it with Amon-Ra St. Brown, the connection with him, and I don't know.
Josh
It
Reynolds.
just is what it is.
All right, let's go. We'll go off the Lions now for a minute. Alex, I changed my mind. Let's go to our video for you guys from last night. Of course, was the national championship. But if you went back 5 years ago, Deshaun Watson
5 years ago.
and the Clemson Tigers against Alabama. One of the great national championship games. Let's take you back there.
5 years
ago.
Stewart shows that he's still got the arm. They pick up 24 yards. Hurts now. Took a peek downfield and now just barrels forward. Still running. In the clear. And scores! And the veterans
after him and not give him time to throw.
They bring pressure, but it's picked up. And Williams down the sideline makes another big catch. He beat Avery. A sack could take them out of field goal range. Bama brings some heat. Watson delivers. Catch made down inside the 10. Overtime. Watson. Touchdown!
Throw is more like a Cole Beasley.
You're right about that.
Look at that game. Hey, what happened to Clemson?
They lost their quarterback.
Are we going to see them again?
Quarterbacks.
Are we going to see Clemson back again, or is it just all SEC?
I don't know. know. They just
Debo. What happened to what's his name? Dabo
Sweeney.
He was a genius at one point, wasn't he?
Same guy that
start talking stuff about NIL.
Right.
Start losing games. Yeah, I mean, you got two guys that one should have won the Heisman, one did win the Heisman, both first-round picks, both gone. It's hard to replace that culture, and that's why you got to give Nick Saban, the credit that you give him, because they keep replacing year after year. Georgia's starting to do it. Oklahoma does it to a certain extent, but it's hard to replace that cupboard. Every year they replace it, because Clemson they were there, and they no longer are there. I think they were 9-4 this year, which is good usually, but not after you're coming off 5 potential national championships.
Yeah, so there you have it. What a day today. I can't believe it's over, actually. We had a great day today. Thanks
Tuesdays
to everybody who's
fast,
watching on YouTube. We certainly appreciate it. Tell a friend about us. All you got to do, youtube.com, search for Woodward Sports. And you see us, the bottom line, and check out the guys in the afternoon as well. Neil Rule and the gang.
Big D Energy.
Big Easy
was on today.
Yeah, Big Easy was on today. And, of course, I'll tell you, Adam's doing a great job. They got Jeff in the morning, Maddie in the morning. Now those guys are rocking and rolling over there, Morning Wood. Word.
Big Spence, Big Justin in the back, Nick Leach.
And, how about that commercial that Spencer and Easy put together?
Woodward Bets, either 6 o'clock.
It is out on Twitter right now. That's all I got to say. If you guys get a chance
to
check out the Woodward Heavyweights, the Woodward Heavyweights on Twitter, you've got to find this video of Spencer and Easy today. They put it out there, man. I'm proud of those guys.
I recorded it. I didn't know what the heck I was recording at the time, but
it was something.
Great.
Everyone had their phone out, recorded these guys.
It was great. Hey, you know what? This is about you guys out there watching, listening, streaming, checking us out, man. We really had a great year last year. The show started August 12th, man, and we just watched it grow and grow and grow. And we don't grow by ourselves. We grow because of you guys. We go because you guys check in, you guys support, you guys subscribe, you guys back Woodward Sports Network. You back the bottom line. We really appreciate you. It's going to be a hell. Right here, bring it in. Boom! It's going to be a hell of a 2022. I'm excited, man. We got Sam and Alex on the ones and twos. Big Maz on the couch. Edwards and Armani on the desk, and we're going to do it, and that is the bottom line. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Gentlemen, I tell you what, you took the hard road one more time. You sure did. You guys earned that freaking win, man. You earned it. You went out there and made the plays you had to make. And we really complimented each other well. We really did. We really did, man. When we needed it, golly, man, we tried the old trickery on the fake punt. We don't get it. Defense, you come out and make a stand. And then we take it all the way down the field offense. I mean, there were so many things that happened in this game that were just, man, I tell you what, they make you proud as a coach. We put Jonah in at center. He played center. You guys that have stood in there and just banged away, man, I respect the hell out of that. I always will. I always will. There's a place for you on this team. All right? There's a place for you on this team. When you produce and you lay it on the line, because that stuff, man, that's better than gold, man. It's better than gold. That's where champions are born and made. You guys made me proud. That we are now springboarding. We are springboarding. And we have, by the way, we've already started this about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We know what we're capable of. And, man, when we hit the offseason running, we're going, man. And we're going places. Because we want to go places. And we know the formula. I'm proud of you guys. Break it down.
That's the way we're going how to finish, bro. Now we're going to continue to come back and we're going to build, bro. Like I said, bro, that's the way we come finish, bro. And I appreciate everybody in here, bro. And we got Lions on 3. 1, 2.